Da da
Hello,
da
everyone.
da 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 da.
Okay. First of all, Joe, get a hold of yourself,
No,
man.
no, 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 Joe. You have to do a rank E unleashed version of the Terminator theme.
How is that even possible?
Yeah,
With
I
all the
could,
instruments completely out of key.
Yeah.
I can do that in GarageBand. But anyway, welcome to the the third attempt at revitalizing the Terminator series with a
And
slightly
third time's the
fresh
charm,
continuity.
but not really for this one.
With a
Oh
slightly fresh
boy.
continuity, except not really. With Terminator Dark Fate, released in 2019, and with the return of series creator James Cameron to the series after, well, 3 movies of him not being there.
Aside from being a producer, he was also one of the story writers.
Yeah.
So,
It's also got a very interesting divide. Critics like the movie, who considered it an improvement over previous installments, and praised, I'm going off Wikipedia here, and praised the cast performances, action sequences, and resolution of the original films, but criticised some of the narrative decisions. Fans were not so generous.
at least the ones that actually saw the movies, because budget-wise, these didn't recoup basically anything. 185, 196 million, and did 261.1. Sure, on the long run it paid off a bit better, but the initial release was catastrophic.
It
for
is
this one.
considered
Yeah.
in a lot
Which
of
is-
ways an absolute bomb.
I think it's actually isn't
I will
this like the
concede.
lowest grossing Terminator movie?
I don't know. I haven't actually checked the numbers. I will
And-
concede that I do think that the lead female actress, she's really good in the act. She's a believable action heroine. I will give her that. Like, she looks believable in the action scenes. She has good screen presence. I get the feeling this actress could have made a really good performance if the script allowed her to.
Wait. What are you talking about? Sarah Connor's supposed to be the lead going off of the advertising.
The film was brought to us by both Paramount Pictures and 20th Century Fox / Disney, and it was directed by Tim Miller, aka the director of Deadpool, who, bear in mind, left Deadpool 2 due to creative differences.
Huh.
And if you remember what we told in the Terminator Salvation video game, he also wasn't exactly the best receiver of the critics. But I think we can just start the movie. All right, it's a bit of a slight conundrum. The Blu-ray copy me, Jova, and Pedro are using starts with the Paramount logo, while Dweeb's copy that he's using from YouTube starts with the Fox logo. But I think any version should be fine, because the way this movie starts is that while the logos are going on, there is a narration going on, and apparently they just reversed the logo for different versions. Don't ask. Just start from zero from your copy, from either one of the logos that we mentioned.
Here goes.
3, 2, 1, go.
I
I would like to
swear.
also say, by the way, before we even start, that it's already been confirmed that these first 10 minutes, by far the most infamous part of the movie, we already have confirmation that it was James Cameron's idea. And also, allow me to sum it up real quick. So, everybody, you're probably thinking, this is a sequel to Terminator 2, ignoring all the others. So, at the end of Terminator 2, everything's done. Skynet is done. So how exactly are they going to continue the story? Let's just say James Cameron didn't have an idea that was any better. In fact, some arguably even worse than the others.
Yeah, if I gotta be honest, I accept Terminator 3 as a better sequel than this one.
Oh. I'm going to go even farther. I will take Terminator 3 because bad ending aside.
Terminator 3 is fucking Shakespeare compared to this.
Bad ending
Unfortunately,
aside.
Terminator
that's
3
it
at
a
least
lot.
had good action scenes.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? I will also take Terminator Genesis over this. For as much a fanfic-like as Terminator Genesis felt like, Terminator Genesis at least felt more creative, shall we say, in, mixing things up. And mind you, Terminator Genesis's ending was one for optimism.
Genesis was a train wreck, but it was a glorious train wreck.
Yes. And like
Also,
I said, Genesis
with the association of Tencent, that speaks helpful when you're helped by one of the worst Chinese companies ever.
So yeah, a bit of fan service here and there from
Hey
Terminator 2.
guys, remember Terminator 2? Huh?
And,
But-
hey, Do you remember the
Death
old
Stranding.
and hey, do you
not just
do you
that,
remember-
it also reminds me of the beginning of Inception.
Yes,
Hey, do you-
100%.
Hey, do you remember the old film studio logos? Because we had those for a bit too.
Pretty
And-
much.
Okay, folks. So yeah, folks. It's worse than Terminator 3. It's worse than Terminator 5. And you know what? It's even worse than Terminator 4 Salvation. Oh yeah, I freaking went
What
there.
about the Sarah Connor Chronicles?
I actually haven't seen that yet.
I have not seen those.
I kind of found it funny that this was essentially a corporation, meaning Paramount and Fox, slightly this name, at least at this point. But around the same time, the Terminator actually appeared in a Warner Bros. Product in Mortal Kombat 11. I know that he also appeared in Gears of War 5. I know, but I'm going for a movie studios comparison.
Is that the robot from Interstellar? What is that thing there? Like,
Now, folks, you may be wondering, why do you even like Terminator Salvation better than this? I'm actually going to wait before I go into the reason. Let's just say, even Terminator Salvation had
obvious.
certain standards.
Now, this opening, that particular opening, recreating the initial sequence of the first Terminator movie with
I will give it
the TA600 moving on, that was fine, but the skybox was completely wrong. The idea origin of the movie with these pitch black or dark blue colors all over the place was completely gone. Here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, John.
Even when I
How
saw
are
it
you
in
doing?
the-
I
when
wonder
I saw-
what you're gonna do in this movie.
Oh, hey,
When I saw
Arnold.
this bit in the cinema, I was really baffled.
Is this another thing? Like every new Terminator movie needs a CGI Arnold.
I'm not even kidding, Driz. I actually
This should have been this should have been the point everyone should have exited the theater room.
Teo, I got dragged into seeing this in theaters by my friends. And I literally was about to get up and go,
Seriously,
what
but
the fuck?
free 30 minutes in, and you literally killed the past.
Okay. So, folks, you heard, saw, you received that all right. We are
And,
not
okay, this
even
is where
5
we
minutes
quit the
in.
movie, guys. Okay, that was Terminator's Dark Fate. That
What a
was our
short movie.
that was our commentary. We know that there's one movie after this. However, do we really need to do? This is done.
You're
I mean,
right.
we don't need to comment.
Why?
We don't need to comment on this anymore. I think this speaks for itself.
Okay. You
what
know-
else, guys?
For the sake of it, I just want to go into a big question. Why does a Terminator exist after they got rid of Skynet?
They
Right.
tried to explain it, but
No. Here, okay. And I know what you're gonna say, Dwibs, but here's the thing: that other organization, no. This Terminator, it was still sent by Skynet. So
James Cameron's. James Cameron. You remember wondering, everybody? Wait a minute. But Skynet was destroyed. That's the thing, everybody. Wait till the movie actually tries to, and I underline, tries to explain how the hell this makes any sense, and then
Dios
we'll discuss
mío,
it. And then we'll
eso
discuss
mío.
it.
and it gets even worse. But yeah, so here's the problem. Not
You know
only
what's the best way to start a sequel to a beloved movie? By making. Hey, by the way, that movie
Pissing
that you loved,
everyone off.
that movie that you loved,
Oof.
that this is a sequel to. Yeah, that movie's now rendered completely pointless.
Whoopsie.
Fuck you.
I think it was even worse than The Last Jedi, because at least Luke didn't die at the beginning.
Okay. I'll just say this: subversion is one hell of a drug for Hollywood makers. Yeah, subversion may seem cool at first, Oh, it's not what the audience were expecting,
And
so
it
that
can
means
be
it
done
must
well.
be brilliant. But then, like I said, it's like a drug. Hollywood makers then tend to abuse subversion to the point where it's more subversive if you
To
don't
make it
do
a
the
publicity
subversion.
stunt, essentially.
I think right now in Hollywood, Dan Skellen is probably the best one at doing it because he reserves that stuff for the ending rather than the beginning. Or like, not to mention.
Well,
it's
not
done...
so much the ending, more like the last third. But you get what I mean.
You're right. Yeah, the last third. But yeah.
Okay, so now we have Mackenzie Davis as
Grace.
as character.
I'm trying to
Naked
think of
woman.
another one.
She has been doing. Oh, she was in Blade Runner 249.
Well, okay. To be
2049.
fair,
Sorry.
we all know. Okay, Jova and Teo, we're comic book fans, so we already knew what was gonna happen in Infinity War. But let's talk about Methanasis for now. from the mass audience's perspective, Infinity War was kind of a subversion of what people expected of,
Oh.
of the MCU.
I argue it was a subversion for me because, as I mentioned, I had a death bingo, but I was so sure the movie was going to follow. But they did surprise me, that's for sure.
And this film does tries to do some new things. Like in this case, one of our main heroines is a cyborg.
Yeah. And what's the name of this actress again, Dubs?
Mackenzie Davis.
Mackenzie
That's the thing
Davis.
is, we don't know yet. She's supposed to be a good guy. So right now, James is giving already like a different retelling of Terminator 3 by having a potential female Terminator sent into the past. We know that's not going to happen, but that's the vibe given in the beginning.
I will give
Here's
her
part
this.
of the problem,
Unlike
though,
the
Tio.
T-Axis actress, unlike the T-Axis actress, and I have nothing against that actress. I'm sure she's a nice lady. Nothing personal. However, unlike her, Mackenzie Davis is, I find, a much more believable female Terminator of sorts. Like, not Terminator, but you know what I mean, right?
Okay,
Like,
okay.
she's a more believable action
She
heroine.
didn't get his pants. His pants either.
Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, the John Connor there was portrayed by a combination of body doubles and
CGI.
Edward Furlong doing
And-
motion capture.
Yeah, and I will give it that. I will give it credit. That was some really good CGI. It did.
I guess it helps that they needed it just for like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah. No, they did a good job. It's like God, it's like I did Admiral Tarkin in
Rogue
Rogue
One.
One.
in Rogue One. I thought that looked fine. Not perfect, but it looked fine.
I can
He
see
looks
why
rather
people.
rubbery in that one, I
Okay.
think.
I will give Dark Fate credit. I do feel like the technology has been more perfected at this point than it was during Rogue One. Rogue One definitely felt like an infancy of
The
sorts.
Industrial Light and Magic worked on this. Let me check.
Probably.
Okay.
They work on everything.
Okay, so Tia, you raise up a good point. You know, maybe Mackenzie may be a good guy or bad guy. Here's the problem. Unlike Terminator 2, if you saw literally any trailer of this movie, you would know that Mackenzie is supposed to be a good guy. Unless the movie at the last minute pulled a
As
plot
per
twist.
tradition, trailers nowadays either spoil everything or they're giving just false
would,
information.
The only thing that the trailers didn't spoil was John Connor's death. Oh, so that allowed people to be the maximum amount of angry.
I can imagine someone of the editing team thought it was a good idea to not piss everyone off, or had the opposite idea in mind. Let's try to make as much money as possible by attracting people without selling this.
It
Everybody,
backfired.
Everybody, who are these people that we haven't met yet? Well, it'll become clear later.
Now, okay, so let me probably bring up the big question that's going for your mind now. So now that John Connor is dead, what happens now? Because Skynet are
The
technically still
machines
dead.
technically won in that kind of sense.
But here's the problem, Tio.
They are
Skynet
the
is no
last, I
more
guess.
because Terminator 2 happened. So we're kind of left in an impasse now, aren't we?
I think by Genesis we already had established that by the laws of how time travel works in this franchise, the time-space continuum is a complete jumbled mess.
Again, Terminator 2 basically killed any possibility of making a logical sequel. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to have a sequel to Terminator 2. It's the end.
I honestly believe the only way this franchise could have continued after Terminator 2 would have been doing maybe
What about
some
prequels?
interpose by using different characters altogether instead of keep fixing on John Connor
Oh
and
my
his
God.
family.
You know what, Sonny Dwibs? In a sense, Terminator Salvation is sort of kind of a prequel to Terminator 1 when you get
Bonk.
down to it. Even though it's also a
Superhero
sequel to
landing,
Terminator 3.
All right, and as you can probably guess by his cold stare, yes, this is our Terminator. For this movie.
Okay.
By far the lamest Terminator ever.
Played by Gabriel Isaac Luna.
Okay.
I have nothing against you, dude, but you were given a terrible role.
Can I
No,
just
I'm
say,
talking about what I checked what he did.
right from the get-go, here's the problem. See, Terminator 2 had a nice little trick where, at first you thought that Robert Patrick's guy was actually going to be the good guy while Arnold Schwarzenegger was returning as the bad guy, which allowed for an amazing twist when it turns out that T-800 is here to protect our John Connor against what appears to be the nice guy. which turns out to just be the T-1000. Here, it's spoiled right from the
Okay,
get-go.
Okay, I've noticed a slight issue with my copy. Don't worry, I don't have to go back to any point or anything. But my
So
version
subtitles for the Spanish bits.
yeah.
Mexican, Spanish.
Ah.
Don't worry. I can tell what happened. It was basically he said, can I meet Dani Ramos? Seems I'm for her friend. Well, she doesn't. Her friends don't usually call her Dani Ramos.
Also, that guy that opened the door to the Terminator looked like a Mexican version of Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah,
Weird.
basically, folks,
Doesn't your copy have closed captions, Whips? Like usually digital copies
Oh,
come with closed
only
captions.
only for the English dialogue.
How weird. Anyway,
Thanks,
I
YouTube.
don't know.
So anyway, folks, one thing you may notice is that this movie will be taking place in Mexico. And trust me, it will remind you a lot, to the point
I
where
wonder why the decision to make the movie take place there.
I wonder indeed.
Well, okay. To be fair, this is not the first time. Like that's where Sarah got most of the between 1 and 2 time in terms of becoming a woman of arms, so she could probably train her son. So technically, it does it's not without precedent. To be fair, I mean,
Bonk.
I think, like,
Anyway, just to quickly mention, the most noticeable role for Gabriel Isaac Luna was, guess what, Jova? Robbie Reyes, aka Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep, I actually recognize him from that. I prefer...
In case you need to know, they couldn't even, because probably marketing stunts, when Ghost Rider was reintroduced in the MCU, they couldn't even bring back Johnny Blaze for some reason. They had to bring the new lame version.
I mean, Robbie Reyes isn't terrible, mind
Sorry,
you,
Joe,
but...
I've never been too much of a fan.
Oh, trust me, I prefer Johnny Blaze as well. But Robbie Reyes, at least in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was pretty neat. It's funny because we technically do have Johnny Blaze in there, in that little flashback.
Yeah.
Going back to what Jovo was saying, like unlike the Terminator 2, this movie doesn't do it at all a good job in keeping us in suspense of who's who, because it's already obvious, not just from the cold stare the Rev 9 had, yes, that's his name, but also because, oh, look, clearly the dad has come to visit the... No, of course not. It's pretty easy that this is the Terminator.
All that's missing is the phone call, which confirms that her parents are dead.
In case you're wondering, other than James Cameron's, there were 4 other writers for this movie, for a total of 5. Charles H.
Oh my god, my dad would never hold a gun
Christ.
at me.
So
Maybe
there
I
you go,
should...
And there goes, guys. So Dani Ramos here, she's our target, and this woman, her name is
Grace.
Grace.
is our protector.
Yeah.
Guardian, if you prefer.
Kinda, sorta.
Charles H. Glee. He wrote for. He was part of the producer crew for the Shield, for stuff like the Shield. You know, that TV series. But not much that I also know from this one. Then there was Josh Friedman, which is supposedly a writer for the sequel to James Cameron's Avatar. So we'll see. But he was also a writer for the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So technically speaking, he should have experience with this franchise. Good to know. Then there was Justin Rhodes, which I actually don't know what he's done. And then there was everyone's favorite, David Goyer.
Wait, David Goyer was... Why? Why is David Goyer... Also, that made no sense. The sword slices at her, but only hits the hat. Either that Terminator has terrible aim...
Why does Hollywood keep hiring him? Why? How many more franchise-ruining movies does he have to make before Hollywood realizes that he's poisoned?
Actually, that's a good point. Let me check what he's supposed to do in the future.
Sorry, I must have gotten a different Justin Rhodes. Sorry.
I actually don't know what Justin Rhodes is supposed to do.
Although, can I talk about something?
Although he's apparently writing a script for a new RoboCop.
Okay. Remember how Terminator 1 and 2 actually took their time establishing the characters before shit hits the fan?
Hell, even Terminator 3 did that.
Not in this one. Like, already we're getting into the...
action.
And as a result, like, okay, if you want me to care about Dani, you have to actually, allow me to get to know her.
You know what?
did that with Sarah. Just
Not
saying.
just that, this like if it was like a 90 minutes movie or something where it was an unfortunate implication from the pace, I can potentially see. Also get it because the first Terminator was killed with this kind of equipment. Fuck this.
If I remember correctly, we only get to this point in Terminator 1 at the 30-minute mark.
It's actually the climax, or how
Okay.
this been resolved.
Actually, no. I think now that I think about it, I think it's only halfway through the movie that Kyle and Sarah first meet. Actually, now that I think about it.
I was saying, if it was like a short movie, I suppose it would have been unfortunate result. But this is like a 2 hour and more movie.
Yeah,
But
we've
anyway,
got a lot of movie to sojourn through.
To mention quickly, apparently David Goyer
Rev 9.
doesn't seem to have any potential future work listed right now. This what is the last listed in his. Actually, no. He's apparently going to be an executive producer of the future Master E-Man reboot, and also a couple of other movies like The Tomorrow War, Antlers, and The Night House. Don't know any of them.
You
I don't know.
know,
I don't know, Tail. The only reason you say that, as Tim Miller would say, is that you're scared that my strong female garden character is going to beat the crap out of you. That's why you're
oh,
complaining.
good gravy, God almighty.
I normally would resent that, but unfortunately the movie is not gonna be. So unfortunately,
Okay,
it's true.
so like I said earlier, Tim Miller was originally going to be directing Deadpool 2, like he did the first one, but he and Ryan Reynolds split because of creative differences.
And it's now starting to become apparent why.
Oh yeah, Tim Miller, the guy who kind of insisted that the Sonic design should stay the way it was.
He was among them.
Yeah,
Well, remember, Taylor,
he used to be involved with the project.
No, actually, Jova, he always has been. He's still credited as an executive producer. Actually.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that apparently Deadpool was literally his first directorial debut, and this was like the second movie he worked on.
That's the thing here. It's starting to become apparent that Deadpool 1 was great, not because of Tim Miller, but in spite of him, to be honest.
Most likely Ryan Reynolds essentially directed everyone else.
Woo! We're driving
Because
backwards.
it was literally his passion project.
Yeah.
Also, get it because in Terminator 2 we had a truck chasing. So this time we have a bulldozer. Everything's bigger. Look at how cool it is.
Okay.
That's another criticism of this movie. A lot of action scenes and or plot points were ripped from earlier movies.
Okay.
And I argue worse than that. It's literally the same logic that the Spike Lee Old Boy movie used. See, this was in the original, but now we're making bigger, better, and more in your face. Look at how cool it is.
Okay.
It's literally the same formula again.
Okay, guys. When your movie retakes plot elements more than Terminator Genisys, the movie that was literally about time traveling to these points in movies, you've got a problem. Again, Terminator Genisys had a reason for reliving certain events. It was the ultimate time travel fanfic plot where, we're going back to all these old movies here and there. Here though,
generations.
it's just blatant. It is blatant copy and pasting. Don't get me wrong; it's performed well, but the idea is to get creative and new. Again, I'm gonna.
It committed to what it wanted to do.
I'm gonna say
every time you think the Terminator franchise reaches rock bottom, it finds a new way to dig up.
Seriously, again, I'm gonna say even Terminator Salvation felt more creative than this movie.
And that looks boring as fuck.
It does, it really does. Yes, this is technically a better made movie, but is it a better movie than Salvation? Hell to the no.
Engine, not the driver, you piece of garbage.
It depends on how emotionally attached you are to Terminator 2, which all four of us are.
Okay. Like I said, at least Terminator Salvation didn't feel like it was spitting in the face of Terminator 2. We already see the Terminator's face reveal.
The unique ability of Rev 9, outside of having the typical, abilities that the T-1000 has,
he can separate his skin from his skeleton.
Okay. He's basically like the TX. The difference is that he can separate his exoskeleton from the liquid metal part of himself. I don't know how the hell that works. It just does roll with it.
Machines, son.
So so people are probably wondering. So does that mean that he has a complete new skeleton in this one, or is he hollow? Can take more damage? Don't expect those to be answered.
Let me. I'm just gonna check. What films was this competing against?
Oof. It was October, end of October, beginning of November release. I wonder actually.
I'm checking. Don't worry.
Hell, even if you take away that Blaze was talking about earlier, the action scenes in this game are not impressive in any way, shape, or form.
Get game.
What do you
mean? You mentioned game accidentally.
Oh, okay. You see, guys, the action. There's so much action already in this movie that Dwebs is under the impression that he was playing a Terminator video game. So.
Wait! Oh my god! You know what? It says something that the Terminator video game was better than this.
I was going to mention at the very end, but around this time, a new Terminator game got released, Terminator Resistance. I see how to play it, but apparently it's the best Terminator game we have got so far. Even though it was received mixed. But
might as well talk about, since we're kind of going through that series anyway. By the way, everybody, in case you don't know, both Grace and Rev 9 are multiplayer purchasable characters in Gears 5. So if you're one of the 5 people in the world still playing Gears 5 multiplayer, there's something to consider, I guess.
Oh, look at that. Her boyfriend is willing to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, am I supposed to care? I literally don't. How much do we know about her brother?
Wait, oh my god, guys, I just realized something. We're in Mexico. They're constantly ripping off scenes. Does that make this a Mexican ripoff? Because I kid you not, even the theme will have Mexican guitars playing in it.
The Mexican bootleg Terminator movie.
So a couple of things. As far as I can tell, Terminator Dark Fate didn't really have any similar competition. The most you can say is The Irishman, but that would end up being on Netflix not too long after.
The Irishman wasn't even really meant to be as big a project. It just happened to be insanely popular, because it was actually good.
And it was by Martin Scorsese.
Also, a film that's a sequel to a to another beloved movie, but I'd argue it does the whole building off the last movie thing.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. That came out like a week after this, and it was a much better film, mainly because they don't treat, Danny, McGregor's character, and they don't kill him off 5 minutes in. He had a whole film to do stuff.
Oh boy. Hey, ready for a trailer shot?
So hold on. Okay, we've already established one character trait. Oh, okay, hold on. Might as well.
There we go.
Let me get. All right. Okay. Okay. I will give it credit. Despite the shitty script that she was given, Linda Hamilton is back in this role, and she still got it in terms of acting and overall. It's the way the character is written that I have a problem with. But I have no problem with Linda Hamilton herself. She's doing the best she can with this
I just want to point out that she somehow managed to know right there and then to show up on that part of the road, and there was thankfully no traffic in her way from that.
We'll return that later. Guys, reference time in a moment. Linda, I love you, honey, but that line works only for Arnold. Sorry.
And also not just the delivery. The context doesn't make any sense. I'll be back from just walking a few feet in front of me.
Don't you get it? It's a cool line said by a badass, strong female character.
Strong with this one, unfortunately.
But the line is there because reference. That's it. It's a reference.
Now I wouldn't
mind that barrage of references. Just commit to them.
If I wanted to watch a film that had these kind of references, again, I'd watch Doctor Sleep.
By the way, you gotta love it. They're so likable that they leave behind the woman who just saved their rear ends.
Bear in mind, Doctor Sleep was Doctor Sleep had a lot of things, that could have potentially gone against it. It was a sequel to The Shining, but it was also the film. I mean,
yes.
But it was also an adaptation of the book to the sequel of the Shining book. So that could have ended up being a huge mess, and yet that was a much better nostalgic-ish,
Continuation.
Oh, yeah.
nostalgic-ish sequel / continuation than this movie. And Doctor Sleep was a mid-budget horror movie.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
It worked
also-
wonders.
Oh, go on.
Well, horror movies don't really need high budgets anyway.
Blumhouse will tell you that for sure.
Well, to be fair, it's not Blumhouse. That kind of thing is not exclusive to Blumhouse.
I know, it's just that it's like Jason Blum, like he constantly tries to strike out with this behavior, but it's
Okay,
a matter of
Pedro?
time.
Well, anyway, that's the thing, Jova. She's not just a bad character like you were implying earlier. She's also dumb. Did you notice what she said earlier before Sarah came in? When the red man was about to come towards them.
When
Okay,
it starts
after-
killing me,
when
run!
it starts killing me, run! You moron! If you know he's gonna kill you, that means that after that he'll go after her and she'll have no one to protect her from. You moron! This is your plan?
Okay,
This is
okay.
your plan?
Okay,
Not
folks.
just that, can't you see how great the chemistry between these two is?
Okay, folks. For comparison's sake, the T-800 in Terminator 2 knew its crap from top to bottom. It knew that the T-1000 was more powerful, and thus tried to always arm itself to the teeth, and even then that was for at best a defensive run here and there. You
Yeah.
didn't see the T-800 just charging in, guns a-blazing at the T-1000, because that would be freaking stupid.
But here's another thing about Mackenzie Davis's character. I mean, I know she has a name, but
Grace. I don't think
Grace.
it's that hard to remember.
I don't know the character. I mean, nothing against
She's so
Mackenzie
bland.
Davis, but the character itself is so bland. I just keep calling her character.
Go on, go
But
on.
anyway, because of her cyborgish nature, the way she was built means she can only really do intense action stuff for like a few minutes tops before she needs sustenance.
Okay.
So you're telling me that you sent this half-human thing, like the fact that she every 10 minutes she needs a breather. Yeah, that makes her an incredibly unreliable guardian.
Okay.
Not just that, James or David, whoever was responsible for this, you're writing a Terminator sequel, not in the next Shonen Jump mainline manga. Come on.
Okay, guys. You know what this is? This is the Final Fantasy 13 of Terminators. Like, here's the problem here. We are, we are about 30 minutes into this,
hour.
about a quarter of this movie. We don't know what sent the Rev 9. We don't know what Grace is. We don't even know why, Sarah Connor is here all of a sudden, knowing
Why should
any
we
of
care
this.
about Donnie?
Yeah, that or anything. Like, again, we're thrown right into
Miss,
the
you need
auction without knowing a damn
Okay,
thing
thanks.
about what's going on. Like, you could argue, oh, it's supposed to be about the mystery and everything, but no, you're not a Quentin Tarantino movie. Just
Also going off what you said earlier, Theo.
Are you just
honestly,
spouting random medicine?
honestly, Theo. Even on the subject of people that can only really do their ultra hero stuff for like 10 minutes or so, My Hero Academia, but either movie's better than this.
yeah.
Like,
Wow,
I said, in general, this is basically a shonen trope,
And
not
it-
a Terminator.
Theo, question, because I'm not familiarized myself with the manga itself. Is Alita a shonen?
Well, like I said, Pedro, I still need to get back to that as well, so I don't know the details.
Because it might have been James Cameron's idea, because he's an anime fan.
Might have been. Again, there were so many writers that it's hard to tell who we can blame for which thing here and
I
there.
can-
Well,
Definitely.
let me remind everybody that even though James Cameron was only one of the story writers, he was the producer, meaning he did look at the final script and approved it. So he does carry a lot of blame.
Not just that. Aside from the two producers and the 5 writers, also the 3 people behind the screenplay: David Goyer, Justin Rhodes, and Billy Ray. Let me check what he has done.
And
So-
okay, I get that you.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh, great! He was a writer for the.
Thank
Hunger
you!
Games.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing out the stupidity of these characters, Sarah Connor. Why can't the movie be about you? Yeah, here's the thing. If you saw the marketing of this and thought, oh, Sarah Connor's going to be the main leading lady.
No.
Nope.
That's the thing, too. It does seem like at first, but then later, unfortunately, even her falls into stupidity. Sadly,
Honestly, well, considering all these people behind the, the production, screenplay, and story, I wouldn't be surprised if the result of the movie is these people not getting along, because the movie in a lot of times feels in conflict with itself. So.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing we compare this to on Final Fantasy XIII. The characters start off as massive dicks to each other, and are going to take quite a bit of time to actually feel like a proper unit.
Damn, even Sarah is like, whatever that is.
it does. Maybe you're watching the Portuguese release of the movie, because the Portuguese version of the movie doesn't have subtitles for the Spanish parts, since we don't need them. Another thing. Okay, sorry.
Get rid of the phone. Yeah, that's okay.
No, she is right in that. As we've talked about various times in Person of Interest webs, yeah, it is very easy to track you with modern phones. Yeah, okay. Again, to give credit, outside of the terrible way I don't like where the writing for her character is going to go. Again, Linda Hamilton picks right back where she left off. She's still great in this role. She definitely.
Hell.
I'm talking about the acting itself, not the writing of the character. The acting from Linda Hamilton.
Well, that's an interesting way of making sure your phone isn't tracked. Put it in a bag of crisps.
Unfortunately, even this is kind of dumb, as later the movie's going to point out. So yeah, apparently... Well, actually, no, never mind. She probably learned this in between 1 and 2. Yeah.
I'm just guessing here.
So, we are literally over 30 minutes into this, and I am none the wiser as to what's going on.
Gotta be honest, Joe, even more than that, to me, I wasn't caring in the slightest.
Yeah, true, I don't care either. I mean, it's kind of hard to care when John Connor gets killed, but...
In order for you to care, you have to actually know something about the characters in order to care.
I was watching... Yeah. I saw this in the cinema too with a friend.
You know, might as well do another comparison. Now, some people may be wondering, oh, but Squirm, they technically killed John Connor in Terminator Genesis. Why weren't you pissed off at that as much? Well, allow me to give you off the bullet point list here. First off, technically, John Connor will get to live by the end of that, seeing as how, with the way Terminator Genesis ends, it ends with his parents, now both alive, with the Terminator watching over them. So it's to be assumed that he'll be able to live in a much better future. Secondly, at that point, the war had been won at that point, so we still did get our victory here and there for the humanity and all that.
Not just that, Joe, but Terminator Genesis technically takes place in a different version of the timeline. This is literally supposed to be the same timeline as Terminator 2. So...
Well, that's the thing, Pedro. Terminator Genesis starts off in the same timeline, technically, but yeah, by the end of it...
When Matt Smith, or Skynet, if you prefer, attacks John Connor still in the future, it changes the timeline. That's kind of the whole premise of it.
Oh boy, Rev 7s. More on that later, but yeah, back to the list.
There's also another thing, that this is basically the movie that breaks the trend of the Terminator franchise by having a different person playing the future, the adult version of John Connor.
Because there is no future John Connor.
Exactly.
More on that later, but yeah, and finally on the list here, you know, turning John Connor into a Terminator was actually an interesting idea that led to interesting things. Killing John Connor in this...
It was terribly executed, but...
It was...
Well, I slightly disagree on the fact that, you know, it feels a bit desperate in terms of trying new ideas. At least Genesis committed to trying new things.
Whereas this, well, let's see. Okay, so John Connor was killed, so let's do something new. An apocalyptic...
Apparently, we're being attacked by Dr. Octopus.
Apparently. So, okay, guys. So John Connor's dead. Okay, so that should lead up the road for new and interesting things. So here's an idea for a story: an apocalyptic future, hunted and down by Terminators here and there. Yeah, we'll still call them Terminators for some ungodly reason. And
Because brand name.
oh yes,
Yeah.
oh. But here's the most important and different thing, guys. We have to protect somebody in the past who will become the badass leader of the resistance. That's totally different from the John Connor thing, right? Right? Totally.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Let's make a movie now. Like, seriously, God.
Remind me again how the human resistance actually managed to win against the machine.
Even James Rolfe mentioned this. It is true. There's no way the humans would have.
Also, wait,
would have
hang
been able
on,
to win. It's just one of those things we just have to accept for the purpose of the story.
hang on. I got TV tropes up. Wait, the person they're protecting is actually the leader, and she doesn't give birth to someone who is the protector. Wait,
Spoilers, Liam. Save it for the end of the movie. Come on.
I was confused. I don't think that was supposed to be the twist or whatever.
Just wait until we get to it. Anyway, though. So yeah, right now we're seeing Grace's backstory
Well, I mean,
here.
I don't understand it anyway, so hopefully the context of the movie will. Who am I kidding?
Also, I guess in the future they still have this medical equipment.
So,
Well, to be fair, Teo, it was the apocalypse, so obviously technology wouldn't advance after that.
So guys, if you thought the ripoffs were just a Terminator 1 and 2, think again. Not only do they rip off bits from Terminator 3, but now, just like in Terminator Salvation, one of our main characters is a cyborg.
Well, if it helps you, Teo, apparently in the future, guns work as medical prescriptions. So
And
there you go. There's a change.
but here,
Also,
Good thing exchange.
also they are guys have the wallpaper and logo. For the,
All
for the
right,
song.
guys. 48 minutes in, we're finally gonna explain what the fuck is going on.
Now, time.
All right. I'll listen to this actually because it's been a while. So you're a cyborg.
again, just like Terminator Salvation.
Great character.
You know, it's weird. I get it. Strong female character, but what is it with this stupid trend of making strong female characters dicks? Again,
Because it shows how independent they are and they don't need anyone.
No,
Never mind the fact that
man.
you just need to be a normal person to
of
exhibit
course,
that trait.
Yes, of course. It's not like the first Terminator movie already had a great female protagonist. or
Apparently,
anything.
Joe, but you seem to be more informed than me. Apparently, even Jill in the Resident Evil 3 remake falls for this once in a while.
kind of. Oh, well, here's the thing. She's mainly a dick against the UBCS. You know, the guys working for Umbrella. So she has actually a good reason to be kind of pissy towards them. Mind you, maybe she takes it a little bit too much far against Carlos, who legit saves her life against Nemesis in the first
Oh,
video.
but-
He,
but
he
don't
flirts with
worry,
her.
guys.
That's not good.
But don't worry, guys. The villain isn't Skynet this time.
Like I said, yeah, it's someone completely different. You're welcome.
We swear.
Same thing with a different name. All right.
It's called. Let's see.
Legion.
No,
Oh.
I was trying to think of a mock-up and like a mockbuster name.
Bynet.
Oh, wait, so listen to this. Skynet...
Ground.
Yeah,
Wait,
I got ground.
remember-
Ground web.
Ground web. Hold on.
There you go, folks!
That in itself should create a fucking paradox.
Okay.
Why is no one related to this franchise know how fucking time travel works?
So you're telling me
The
that
second time where
Skynet?
time travel's been a huge.
Skynet
factor
doesn't
in the plot.
exist, but...
So you're telling me that back in 1984, Skynet sent a whole slew of T-800s, not just one. And where exactly have all these T-800s been up until the beginning scene of this movie?
not only that, but...
Where were they during Terminator 2? Exactly. James, Are you a moron?
You know, again, I'm gonna say it. It made sense when it happened in Terminator Genesis because the Skynet still existed at that point. So it made sense that they were able to send Terminators all across time. But here, it is said that Skynet somehow sent Terminators that followed orders even after Skynet no longer existed.
And also, Pedro, I thought the whole Skynet sending a bunch of Terminators back unbeknownst to anyone else was during T2.
Okay.
No, well, remember, Dwebs, T2 specifically told us it sent 2 Terminators, one in 1984, and then since that one failed, it sent the T-1000. That's what Terminator 2 established. But now this movie's trying to tell us that it sent a whole slew of T-800s, it seems.
But hang on. It's kind of repeating the same mistake that Genesis made.
Yeah.
When they sent back a T-1000, yet they also sent back a T-800.
Well, it's like I said, in Terminator Genesis, it makes sense because Skynet still exists. Here, though, okay, maybe it makes sense if Terminators...
I'm going to explain now who Legion is.
It was something totally different.
Legion.
Totally different from Skynet.
But despite that, use the same exoskeleton models of the T-600s.
And let me remind you, it's still called Terminators, so yeah.
But apparently it's supposed to be some sort of commentary for how humanity never learns.
That was already being done with Skynet.
Marketing-related question or perplexity on my part. Why not call it at this point the movie Terminator Legion?
You know...
Dark Fate doesn't really fit with what's going on.
The very last scene of Terminator 2, right before the credits, establishes Sarah Connor's final moment of her character arc, where she now faces the future with a newfound sense of hope, because now that she's seen for herself how a machine can actually learn the value of human life, maybe there is hope for mankind. And now you've taken that development completely away from her. Good job, James. Good job.
It says something that Terminator 3, the one where she died of leukemia, still treated her character better. Like, she still retained her morals, but also prepared just in case. It's not like she completely lost faith, though, like in this version here. And you know what? I get it. She lost her son here, so technically it makes sense here, but that just brings us back to this. Guys,
that's the sad part, Silva.
They created plot holes. They completely broke time just to persist with killing John Connor. And
that's the sad part, Jova. Terminator 3 treated... it's going to become more obvious later, but Terminator 3 treated Sarah better, even though she wasn't even in the movie, technically. They had that one moment where she died before.
She died of leukemia, yeah.
But there was that one fact that John Connor told us, that she was able to hang on and persist until what was supposed to be Judgment Day, just so she could verify for herself that Judgment did indeed not happen, and only then was she able to rest in peace.
Exactly.
That was far more dignifying of her T2 character, and she wasn't even in the movie, technically.
Also, want another comparison with Final Fantasy XIII? Grace has been sent in the past with vague instructions on what she's supposed to do.
Why? Why vague? Why not just tell her?
Because
I think Tyrese really had that vague instructions when it was sent. I don't know, just a feeling.
Are they afraid? Are they afraid they'd fuck up time or something? Because
you're already doing
he does a bang up job of protecting time so far. If that's true.
But can I just
bring up another thing that doesn't make any sense? But
go
ahead,
on.
finish.
Okay. I'll finish up. Here's my biggest problem, though. So they went through all of this, creating plot holes, creating a time paradox, just to have a Terminator kill John Connor, supposedly to have new things happen. But at the end of the day, it's still the same old story. Gotta protect somebody in the past, because this cybernetic force is sending Terminators. They couldn't even bother to change the name of the robots.
That's Jova, and because we're creatively bankrupt.
But that's the thing, though.
I had a thought, just something that I pulled out of my ass just this instant. If you really have to kill John Connor in the first couple of minutes, Why can't he just die from a complete separate accident that is independent from another Terminator? Like the ultimate irony. Sarah has been protecting her son for all this time from this mess from the future, and she loses him for something that's completely unrelated to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what Akira Toriyama did with Goku dying of a heart disease.
Yeah.
In the Android saga, ironically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would have actually have made some lick of sense. And again, though, if you have to have John Connor die, change things up immensely. Like, I could think of so many ways that they could have changed things. Like, for one thing, instead of having it be that it's machines, maybe have it be that, I don't know, it's...
He died in an accident or something.
Alright, let me just say this real quick. Okay, now allow me to explain what I was talking about earlier. Okay, the T-100 was awesomely memorable because, well, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't need to explain that. The T-1000 benefited immensely from Robert Patrick's incredible, almost entirely facial expressions acting, where he was incredibly intimidating, not just because he was powerful, but because Robert Patrick did a great job in the movie. Not to mention the writing also benefited from the few moments he had lines. This T-800, sorry.
The Rev 9
model. Let me check what's the code name. Go on.
This Rev 9. Oh, hold on, never mind. This is another important scene. I'll
if I actually could see shit.
Don't worry, Theo. The visuals in this movie are not that great either. So
what is this? The Alien vs Predator sequel?
So, you're probably wondering, folks, why are they keeping the purpose for protecting Danny in the dark? It's to surprise you!
And here's Grace when she was a kid. So basically this happens when Grace is...
her own Judgment Day.
How nice, how nice, how nice, I don't care!
See, here's the problem with this...
Wait, hold on.
The plane
spell. The humanity, folks!
This is
the
Terminator,
humanity.
not Mad Max, so come on.
Okay, see, here's the problem. The flashbacks to Grace's past don't actually tell us anything about her as a person. We just explain the events of
from her perspective, I guess.
Now
but we don't actually learn anything about who she is. Is she boring? Is she funny? Is she... like, who is she?
Here's the thing about Kyle Reese. We didn't know much about his life in the past, but we got to know him as a person extremely well. We got to know...
Oh, sorry, go on.
We got to know him inside out. His likes, his dislikes, how he felt, why he was so damn motivated to keep Sarah Connor protected. Because the future he came from was absolutely terrible. Like, the one scene we do see of him in the future, that was all we really needed, as opposed to just being told, it was hell, it came out of nowhere, oh my god, my life was absolutely crap after it happened. Bloody, blada.
Also, you're telling me that Legion was immune to EMPs?
Yep, that's right.
I actually don't think there's a single piece of electronic equipment that's actually immune to EMPs. Is there, Java?
No.
It's called electromagnetic pulse, so it shouldn't be.
Like, I can imagine maybe if it has, like, some kind of cover made of a special alloy, I guess.
It's essentially...
But I'm not sure how practical it can be.
Allow me to answer your question, Gio. It's essentially just a way to go, Legion was just that awesome, yo, and that's why it completely took over the world.
Let me just briefly finish my earlier point. Yeah, the Rev 9, on the other hand, he doesn't do anything cool in this movie. He just stands there. The actor doesn't have the Robert Patrick intimidation factor, so even his acting can save it. He's just a really lame Terminator without anything making him memorable.
For reference sake, see, here's part of the problem here. Usually, when the threat escalated, it took a Terminator to fight each of the Terminators. Like, the T-1000 had to get fought off by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The T-X had to get fought off by the T-850, which was sort of an upgraded model of the T-800. The point being is, like, well, it took a Terminator to counter a Terminator. Whereas, may I remind you, for the first fight scene...
Oh, no, Joe, this is important.
I just want to finish up. The Rev 9 was defeated by a human, technically. Oh boy, here we go.
Fuck off, whoever wrote that line.
Because that line was absolutely terrible.
Isn't it so great to be a Terminator fan in current year?
That's the issue with a lot of with a lot of when it comes to trying and writing.
Sorry,
hang on. When they're trying to write female action heroes, half the time they just write them with awkward lines like that. It just makes them come off as a. I mean, they'd be a dick no matter what gender says it. So
bear in mind,
it just makes it. I mean, with lines like that, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You come off as a dick no matter what gender says it.
It's like if you were a man and said, "Oh, they just want you for your penis because it will be your sperm."
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Bear in mind,
most bad dialogue is not discriminate for gender.
Oh, absolutely.
Bear in mind, there is probably a Funko Pop for each of these new characters. Have fun collecting them. Now they hate each other.
Yeah, again, that's a thing. These characters spend a good portion of the movie hating each other because they do not get along.
So now they're trying to now they're trying to cross the border into America so they can get to Texas.
I wonder why they had that as such a particular plot point.
Like I said before, this is so determined to remind you that it's Mexican that even the main theme has Mexican guitars playing in it during the credits.
Actually, that's a good
thing, of course.
That's a good segue, Leaves. Who was the composer?
Tom Holkenborg, aka Junkie XL, who worked with Tim Miller in Deadpool.
Fortunately, he did a better job in the Sonic movie.
Gotta be honest.
He did the Sonic movie?
Memory for this.
Oh yeah,
he's doing one also for the Scoob movie.
He did a much better job in the Sonic movie.
Well, he actually had a good movie to work with.
True.
Okay. To finish. Oh yeah.
Oh wow, she's.
Is Grace cool yet, guys? Is
no,
she cool
no.
cool?
Again.
You can just kill flies with a swatter.
Again, she's a character who.
But Dwebs, that's not cool enough. Dwebs.
Look, here's the thing. Grace hasn't really succeeded in doing anything. She hasn't succeeded in saving Danny. I mean, let's be quite honest. Sarah Connor was the one that bailed them out. I mean, sure, there was.
Remember, her weakness is that she runs out of steam in like 3 minutes.
She had at best that one fight with the Rev 9 where... No, that was Danny's boyfriend who actually crushed him with that. So,
and he sacrificed himself so she could get away.
So, mind you, some of the cannon fodder in this movie has done more than Grace has accomplished.
If it wasn't for Sarah Connor, Donnie would be dead already by this point.
So, let's see. So far, the boyfriend and Sarah Connor have done more than Grace, the supposed protector. Oh, psych.
But yeah, let me bring up another thing that doesn't make any sense. So Sarah has been forgot in between 2 and this movie, killing off all the remaining T-800s that were left behind. No, I'm sorry. Do you remember how hard it was in the first Terminator for them to
just kill
one? And you're telling me that Sarah Connor alone was able to basically kill all the remaining T-800s? Fuck off.
Undercover, mind you, because she needed heavy equipment, as we saw from her introductory scene.
Pedro, you know what's terrible? They could have easily have fixed this issue considering how she knows where these things are going to occur.
Anyway, just to point out, let's do a slight recap. The first Terminator movie was, I guess the message at the end of the day was that we should have been warned, we should have been careful about how we handle technology and potential AIs. The second, about not to take anything for granted and, there could still be hope for the future. The third one was, I guess, that the future is inevitable no matter what you do.
Okay. I'll give the third one credit. While it did stoop to the whole future is inevitable thing, it did also have the message that there would always be a light of hope, even in the darkest of situations. And funnily enough, Terminator Salvation kind of undid the whole future.
I'm getting there, Libs. The fourth one was a Bayformer style US military commercial, though really much to say about that.
The best thing about it was that it did undo the whole future is written thing by having it so that the humans were able to succeed earlier than they originally did in the original timeline.
Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing in any of these movies the main villain. So what's this villain called again?
The Rev 9.
Rev 9.
The Rev 9. Thank you. This is the first I've seen, where the villain, in this case the Rev 9, has indirectly manipulating others to do his dirty work for him.
Anyway, fifth movie was, I guess, anything can change potentially. But hold on, because I'm maybe some potentially now police handle things. But this movie, this wants to get political, and I mean currently political.
I'll say.
Because that's what Terminator needs.
You were saying, Pedro?
That actually is a good segue into my next point, Wibbs. I will at the very least give it credit that Rev 9, despite being a really lame Terminator in general, is still technically more of a threat than John Connor Terminator in Genesis, because John Connor Terminator in Genesis, every time he showed up, they were always able to escape him so easily, rendering him a complete non-threat. Whereas, as just put it out, he at the very least was able to manipulate humans. So he's at the very least already established himself as more of a threat than John Connor Terminator. There's that at least. It's not much, but it's something.
Unfortunately, it's kind of going to be undermined by a bit of stupidity to come from the Rev 9. Okay, so he has them pretty much where he wants them, thanks to this. So, you think he has them right where he wants them. He could do so many ways, like take them into custody and then kill them. No, instead he's going to...
He tries to do suicide with a drone, yeah.
What? Okay,
Gabriel doesn't even look intimidating, he just looks bored.
So, okay, I just want to point out, why not just drop the bomb on them without the policing? Like, think about it. You could have technically have had them because it was so dark. It was too dark for them to see anything anyway, so...
Why not just wait till they're in the car and then blow them?
Someone set up us the bomb.
But believe it or not, Dweebs, this is not the stupidest act of the Rev 9 yet.
Well, I've seen the movie, but I'll admit, it's been
great.
It's been months since I've seen it.
Okay, of all products, why Terminator needed to tackle the social controversy about Mexican immigrants coming into the USA?
Yeah, well, Tio, like I said, this feels like it's meant to be Mexico the movie, starring the Terminator, mind you.
Okay, I'm gonna do my usual spiel as well. Okay, everybody, I don't want you all to think that the only problem we have with this movie is its plot holes. Though yes, they are incredibly numerous, and a clear indication that the people who made this movie clearly weren't even thinking about what they were making. It goes beyond that. The characters are so uninteresting, even the returning ones.
we even talked about the fact that the inspectors did a bad job in searching the bodies.
In a movie about humanity rising against machine oppression, you should. The only way that movie can work is if the humans. If we care about the humans and they're portrayed as humanly as possible, and this movie is the characterization is so bland and devoid of anything interesting. Like even the returning Sarah Connor is not really given that much to work with, like I already mentioned.
And like I said,
thinking, but guys, Arnold Schwarzenegger supposedly in his movie, and by the way, we're almost halfway through and he hasn't showed up yet. But don't worry. But unfortunately, similarly to Sarah Connor, not even him can save this.
I'm just gonna say,
to become apparently clear.
I think he did have a couple of funny lines, but that's about
dudes. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best thing about this movie, to the point where I'm going to argue that we should have been following his character more than anything else.
I'll point out that as well.
But that's the thing. Post T2, Arnie has been the best thing. I mean, he was decent in T3. He wasn't in T4, but in
what do you mean, Dwips? He was totally in T4.
I mean, in T5 and T6, he was, he had a few funny lines.
I'm going to say this right now. I would have rather we just gotten a continuation to Genesis. Like, that ended with Arnold Schwarzenegger as a T-1000 in a completely unwritten future. That had more merit to continue than this movie
But
has
it's,
any reason to exist.
Well, that's the thing, Joe. But that film didn't make enough money. Neither did this film.
That's the thing. This movie made even less money than Terminator Genisys.
Alright, let's see who plays these doofuls here.
Don't even
Yeah.
act like you're going to really matter. J.K. Simmons was a better officer than you, and he pretty much got punted from the
Stephen
storyline.
Cree.
Yeah, true.
Basically, he's
Um,
here to play your typical dick officer here with the whole "my face is
It's
my
become-
warrant" and "I don't believe a damn thing you
That's the-
say."
That's the thing, guys. It's become apparently clear that the only reason James Cameron came up with that whole multiple T-800s scent thing at the beginning,
Red column.
Was just to
because
kill
that's what it
John
is.
Connor.
not just that, Jova. Both as a way to properly continue a story that doesn't make any sense to continue, and second, so they have an excuse to put Arnie in this movie because
Okay.
they know
Also-
because they knew that his presence would sell more tickets.
Also, Joe and Pedro may interest you that Stephen Cree was also in Maleficent.
Oh, who'd he play in
Well,
that?
Yeah.
Well, I
And Overseer. I actually don't remember if it's like just a minor
So
character or
basically this-
anything.
So basically, this guy needs to fire his agent.
Okay.
But he's
Okay,
gonna be sacked apparently for Bravely Default 2. So better career, I guess.
Okay. Hang on. What, sorry. That bit just there where she was like, "Did I say you could look at my private parts as you whacked him against the wall?"
Okay, well, actually, she went. Yeah. Okay, here's another thing about Grace. She
It's like that bloody deleted scene in Captain Marvel where a guy who was just mildly being a bit of a creep, she breaks his arm. Here, a guy's being a bit of a creep, but she whacks him against the wall.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe it's because the
It's creepy, but you shouldn't assault somebody because of it.
Okay. Maybe it's because the Terminators were robots, but I'm gonna say right now they were much more polite than Grace is. I get it, she's in a crappy situation, so she doesn't have an obligation to be polite. But I'm sorry, Grace is just so unlikable. Again, a lot like lightning.
Oof.
If the guy was attacking you or something, then fair enough. But he wasn't. He was just looking at you.
Not only that, but Grace, there are some things that could be solved if you just handled them with tact. Like, you don't have to be a dick about every single thing just because, but you could actually try and be more polite, and it could maybe work out better for you. Like, for example, the
Also, say goodbye to Inspector Rigby because I think he's dead.
Not yet. I think he's
I
just
think
not
she's
dead.
killed him.
The movie doesn't even create a context or a story where it makes sense to have a dickish protagonist. It's just she's just a dick because.
Again. Let's compare her to the first three Terminators. The T-800, pretty much, yeah, he acted very robotic, but still acted in a sense where a human could interact with him and have a good enough conversation with him until he needed to get violent. But T-1000 was an absolute master at tricking people into thinking he was the good guy here. And the TX, well, like I've said, the TX went so far as to even increase her breast size to trick people. Again, you could at least say the TX came off as charismatic when she needed to be, whereas Grace here, again, maybe you'd be able to solve a lot more problems if you didn't handle stuff so aggressively like you were hyped up on steroids, you moron.
Yeah.
That's the thing, Joe. Apparently, she is on some sort of drug right now because that's apparently the only way she can keep going.
Don't forget me, I was the main character in the first movie.
Yeah, seriously, does Grace just hate Sarah Connor? Like, she's tried to leave her
Well, she
behind.
made it quite clear.
Yeah. Okay, that's the thing. I wouldn't mind.
You
seeing-
are a moron.
Yes,
Ah.
The future savior of humanity.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
No. I got here. We're not supposed to know that yet.
Well, wait. Hasn't the movie suggested that
No,
it's just her
they
womb?
said she's the one to be protected, so yeah.
Well, don't
I
you...
wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing Mackenzie Davis in a potential Expendables 4 because I do think I do get the feeling she would be able to do a much better job in a script that actually allows her to.
Like, okay. Aside from Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lyndall Hamilton, yeah, Mackenzie Davis was like the thing people praised the most about this movie. And
She's
you know what?
believable in the action scenes, and it's one of those cases, Jova, where the way she's written is terrible, like you just pointed out. But you can, if you look really hard, you can see behind the shitty writing that there's an actress trying her best with what the shit she's been given.
Hey, Pedro, that's another thing we compare to Final Fantasy XIV. Like, for as terrible a character...
Yes.
Well, not only that, but for as terrible a character she was, hot damn, Lightning could fight pretty awesome, like in Final Fantasy XIII.
How, Carter, can't you tell we're from Texas because our hats say so?
Yeah, seriously, guys.
Do people think that everyone in Texas just wear cowboy hats? Huh?
Apparently.
Like every single person as well.
Oh, look at that! Just like Terminator 2, the bad guy Terminator needs a chopper.
Of course, Sarah. Don't you know that all Portuguese people are always, sleeping under a tree because they're lazy? And how every Italian person has a
wasn't
long
that the
mustache
opposite?
and
We're too
eating
busy
pizza
for
or
work.
something? Well, that's the laziness. Well, the laziness, the lazy Portuguese stereotype is more so sleeping under a tree and stuff like that.
I thought
Not
the
so
stereotype
much-
was
No,
that
I thought
Portuguese
actually that the national stereotype was that you overworked yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
that's
now-
the
now,
thing. Sarah. We have multiple.
okay,
ones.
a bit
Okay.
later on in this scene coming up, I think it's one of the more odder parts
Okay.
of the movie.
Okay, folks, prepare
I
to make...
wonder who this person could be.
Okay, folks, if you had questions before, prepare to get even more confused and befuddled.
The interesting
Yeah.
thing about my content
Totally
is that
about the guy named Carl.
when it comes to stereotypes, we work in extremes. We either overwork or lazy.
Or don't at
Wow.
all.
Hey, it's on.
Hey, more than halfway through the movie, actually.
Okay.
Sarah, didn't you already learn this lesson from the second movie?
Not only that, well, here's the thing. This is the same Terminator who killed John.
Okay, that
How-
delivery
how-
boy
how
when
does
she
she know
said
that?
I'll kill you was a bit weak. if you
Well,
ask
because-
me.
How does she know that it's this specific one?
Because
We
he
haven't
looks like
established
a...
that yet.
because-
She just asked and he said yeah.
Well, okay, but she didn't know before. He just told us though.
Well, to be fair, her mentality has been she see a Terminator, kill a Terminator.
Kill it on sight. But she does.
I don't care if he killed your son! Seriously.
If this movie existed only to demean Sarah Connor, like you brought her back in the movie just
Well-
to show a more pathetic.
Well, it's not like the other characters are much better.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I don't
yes.
mean that. I mean that really puts in perspective how her death off screen in Terminator 3 was the better choice.
Oh,
That says
yeah.
a lot.
Hello, I'm just here to remind you that I am from a timeline that does not exist.
Keep in mind, just for the record, because this was that was for Genesis. I remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger slightly collaborated with Epic Rap Battles of
All right.
History for promo Genesis, not
All
for
right,
this
it-
one. I'm
And it's in
confused.
this scene where Linda Hamilton is going to try her best to carry the scene on her shoulders.
Oh, right,
She-
yeah.
she doesn't succeed, but boy, does she try.
That's the
Just
thing,
check this
Pedro.
out.
We haven't talked about the actress who plays Danny.
I'll
That's because
check in the
she's bland as
meantime.
fuck. All right, listen here, because I actually do like her delivery of these lines, despite how terrible the writing is.
Mhm.
Never mind the fact that they already sent back a Terminator with the T-1000 after him, but carry on.
I think they knew what he looked like then.
Sorry, Linda. I'm glad that you're trying, but the
She's
writing
trying, but that line
the
was
ri-
stupid. I didn't...
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
what
that
I
if...
said. Like, Linda is trying her fucking hardest, but no, it doesn't.
Also, I'm watching a T-800 preparing a cocktail. What
Okay,
the
okay. One thing this movie does is that it shows what would happen if a Terminator actually succeeded in its mission.
It would just randomly go off and live in a
Anyway,
house.
Jova,
No, to be fair, they're gonna explain how that went. So hold
to
on.
answer your question, Jova, the actress who plays Danny is Natalia Reyes. She's Colombian, and she's playing a Mexican in this.
Huh.
Okay. Her resume is not that high. She did mostly stuff in country. So
I guess
is
this
like
was supposed to be her-
first American. Yeah.
Is that what Lyndall Hamilton said to the whole team
One
at
is a
this?
machine sent to the past to accomplish this mission. The other is a grumpy old lady who lost her son. Can these two get together?
Sarah.
Oh,
shut up,
Mateo! Teo, it's you!
It's just one T. I don't count that. Rough.
Sorry.
All right, 800.
Oh,
please explain
no.
your backstory.
She had an abusive
Get
husband.
it? This Terminator movie also tackles spousal abuse.
And he was gonna kill the child and everything.
That's okay, but
Oh, yeah.
as she pointed out, does this have a point?
So, the Terminator grew a conscience.
Well, to be fair, this was a thing in T2 as well, so...
True.
I suppose.
It's just, I'll admit, it's interesting to see what would happen if a Terminator had succeeded. It's just, I'm just gonna say right now, this would have been a much more interesting plot to follow than any of this.
Well, I'll bring it up when it actually becomes more relevant, Joe, but don't worry.
Chronal displacement, that's what it's called.
So, is that just their word for, this is why stuff that shouldn't have occurred?
So there you go, everybody. The T-800 was the one who has been telling Sarah Connor where all the other T-800s were.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that.
Because he thought it would give her life purpose.
Another thing that I noticed is this is the movie. Yeah, this is the movie that has the chronal displacement happen like in mid-air, while in the other movies it happened perfectly on the road.
Okay, I did like that. That's gonna be hard to explain to Alicia.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like I said, he is the...
Honey, why have you got bullet holes in your chest? I was shot, but I got better.
You know, there's no point going...
Does that even matter at this point, Arnold? Does it?
Apparently destroying Skynet was a bad move.
Well,
Fuck
good,
off,
good from this perspective, apparently. And
Fuck off.
that's a very interesting thing for Terminators to do when they have no orders, or unless it was like some thing Skynet has in their brains, like, well done, Terminator, you have accomplished your mission. They'll go off and have a family.
Pretty much. Like, there's no way...
It's literally guys from Street Fighter 2 go home and be a family man.
You know what's sad, honestly? The first thing to actually raise the question of this was Robot Chicken.
I've only ever seen a few clips of Robot Chicken.
That's another thing that it probably has in common with modern interpretation of Star Wars. Robot Chicken as the better cat canon.
Yeah.
Hang on, we're gonna so how exactly are these two? Is the Terminator has a family? We're gonna explain now in a moment.
Also, is that Corona beer?
It looks like it.
Also, notice how Sarah's just trying to down the whole bottle just then for a second.
That's a nice side gag. Aww. He even has a dog, too.
Never mind the fact that it was established that dogs are detecting Terminators.
But this dog
And they're
likes
very
him.
angry at them.
Well, Tail, remember this dog has probably been around for a while, so he probably gotten used to him.
I love that
suppose,
line. I love that line. I'm never gonna fucking call you Carl. Yeah, that's totally not set up for when she calls him Carl. Oh.
Convenient.
Hello, housewives.
And I'm extremely
Okay. Well, it is nice. It is nice that the universe is justified by her being, an ex-abuse victim, so it makes more sense that she doesn't want to have a new physical relationship. It doesn't really help to have this kind of commentary in an age where new generations are very much exposed to the figure, of the cuckold, the one that raises another person with her, with his or her children, and is perfectly okay with it. And it's a figure that is literally demonized by everyone.
You know what's sad? I could totally see the commercial for this. Say, housewives, do you have a rambunctious household and need just the right man for the job? Well, get the Terminator husband.
Holy shit, guys! Hold on. Danny just decided to actually, emerge as a character now.
Wow.
150 minutes in.
Two thirds into the movie.
So again, they're
Sorry,
on.
Donnie. It's a bit too late to have a personality, Donnie. Sorry.
Once again, the movie feels at conflict with itself.
Again, the movie hasn't even clarified whether or not it's Donnie herself that leads the resistance, or she's just the one who births a special miracle child like Sarah Connor. Kind of takes out
Are you
a
sure
lot of
about
us.
that? Are you sure
You
about
know,
that,
I'd
Carl?
rather, it's like what Trevor said earlier, I'd rather watch a movie about Carl's family life or something.
Not just that,
Seriously.
not just that. Don't worry, Debs. I will bring up my main thing that I even talked to Joe various times about this when we actually get to that.
Yeah,
one.
the fucking arsenal in the basement.
We have yet
Yeah.
to see the best moment in the movie, everybody, to its credit. There is the best moment in this movie is one that is entirely on Arnold, as you're about to see in a few minutes.
Great, that's nice to know. No, why this movie has to tackle?
Texas.
Why this movie has to tackle the pro or anti-gun issue?
Jova, you're American. Is that supposed to be an American Texas joke that I'm not familiar with?
It's a Texas stereotype about them being very shoot happy. Like even Team Four Star did that, but
Not just that. Once again, another thing that's heavily discussed these days: pro or anti, gun ownership in the USA.
Okay,
Well,
I am
well,
by
the
no
way-
means.
the whole Texas thing is a lot better handled here than in North, and I doesn't say much, but still.
Okay, I have
Sarah,
never-
that thing's gonna kill her with the
Not just that.
recoil.
Not just that, but okay, I have never shot a real gun in my life, but I am fairly certain that it's impossible for someone to just immediately be able to get good at this in just a couple minutes of practice.
As
Pretty
someone-
much the same as Pedro
Okay.
didn't do, but I'm pretty sure it takes skills.
Okay. I've been to shooting ranges with my uncle and aunt in Arizona. Guns are not easy. Like, let me put this like this. Even the handgun, which is usually the easiest gun to
That's it.
hold,
Hold
Can-
on, Joe. I have to put there you go, Debs. That was Donnie's gun practice. Do you think that will be enough?
Also, passive mention
she
of
only-
Kyle Reese.
She only had 2 shots of one gun.
Well, apparently, Debs, according to the James Cameron and his team, this is enough.
You don't even like.
oh, there you go.
Yeah, then keep it in there, then you imbecile.
Fucking hell.
Great job, James, and David and whoever the hell had this idea of making Sarah into a moron. We totally needed this.
Okay, to her credit, she didn't know that a Terminator would be tracked. Oh wait, what am I saying? She knew that Terminators were out there, so she
That's
probably
why she
should
had.
have.
That's why she had that they get rid of her phone.
All right, everybody. Okay, now this is all me. Okay, everybody, we're about to see a sneak peek into a much better movie that we could have gotten.
And mind
I'll
you,
put
we've
it-
already seen a lot of more interesting ideas on the main plot here, so this one's gonna be special.
Like
Yeah, for their
this-
safety, Carl is sending his wife and son off to
Yeah.
safety somewhere.
All right, here we go. This is now a little conversation between Donnie and Carl, and by far the best moment in the movie. It's kind of a
Oh.
cock tease, but damn, that's the only interesting moment in the movie. All right, here we go.
True. Oh.
Also,
No, that's
also,
how you do it.
was this used in the trailers? I don't remember.
No, it
No,
wasn't.
no.
No, it wasn't.
Basically,
Why the
Why-
fuck
why-
didn't you
listen
do
here.
that?
Do you love them? Hold on, I love this one.
damn!
Thanks, movie, for that sneak peek into a much better movie we could have gotten.
Like, seriously.
Imagine a whole movie based around what happened. This Terminator story right here, where he actually finds out how what he thought was once an advantage to make him superior now now turns out it isn't. Like, that's a much better and cool story we could have gotten.
You want to know what's sad? We
This
could.
bullshit.
You know what's sad? We also could have had this without having to sacrifice John Connor in so many ways, like Q had mentioned. Maybe have John Connor die of natural causes. Or heck, if they don't want to do that, have it be that John Connor's death is fake to the point where the Terminator is fooled, and thus, as a result, he wants to.
No shades of why.
Not this time.
I suggested
Let's just
earlier,
get to a subversion.
why not just have him like die in an accident or something?
Again, I get it. Subversion can be cool at first, but really, you really had to take away the awesomeness of the sunglasses?
I
Okay.
hate family
Rev 9,
pictures.
that's a bit rude.
I hate family pictures. It was a family picture that inspired the
Okay,
creation.
that's not the behavior of a Terminator, that's the behavior of Newman from Seinfeld.
Guys, don't you understand? It was a ruined family picture that inspired the creation of Legion because the guy got so angry he chose to make that program.
Actually, can we have a Terminator movie like Pedro mentioned, maybe about Arnold growing up with a conscience, having this family, but the Rev 9 is basically the sitcom arch nemesis, the guy that tries to have like a real estate scheme.
So, like Newman?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Imagine instead of this piece of garbage that we gotten, imagine like they would literally flat out establish right from the marketing. This is okay. Here's a what if scenario in the Terminator. Like we would make it an Elseworld story type of thing.
Oh yeah. I could totally see it. The Terminator has a family, but this time Skynet are sending Terminators after the Terminator because in order for their plans to succeed, that particular Terminator has to be eliminated, or they didn't calculate that he would.
If I was the producer of this movie, by the time this idea came about in the writer's room, my immediate action right after that would be, okay, we're scrapping all of this shit. Here's the idea. A what if scenario. What if the T-800 won in T1? Okay, what if he actually succeeded in killing Sarah Connor? And as a result, he went on and became without purpose and was forced to kind of live on Earth without purpose. And then we get into the story of him finding that abused wife, and all that shit. And then we get that an entirely personal, character-driven drama of the T-800 slowly growing a conscience and finding out exactly what the wrongs of it, what was wrong about what he had done, and like Arnie said here, what he once thought was a big advantage that put him over humans turns out it isn't. Wouldn't that much be a much better movie than this tripe? Like,
okay.
You would have gotten everything.
Oh.
You could get Terminator.
Okay,
you could still call it. You could still call it Terminator. You could still have Arnie. It's everything you need to. It's right there. There's a great movie in there, right there.
It's a very interesting way of figuring out that they found you by the type of aircraft that's coming in.
Yeah.
If it's not the type, then oh shit. I mean, what if it? I mean, you were right in this instance. But what if it was just some regular guy who got lost or something?
Also, you gotta love how they literally introduced this soldier guy who's apparently a friend of Sarah Connor's just to kill him.
Well, he's not dead yet. Just
For reference, he's played by Fraser James.
Again, I'm calling. How much you want to bet though that he'll probably die soon?
Someone in the writer's room came up with a much better movie than this, and yet James Cameron didn't do what he should have done, just give that person the reins and make that into a movie.
Again, folks, I just want to point out we've been suffering for the majority of this film, a film that's a retread of other films, one that completely repeats the whole "gotta protect somebody to sustain the future" deal. Because either they themselves or they will birth whoever will lead the new committee that defeats the evil android force. It's literally the same thing as the originals, and yet here we have this unique idea here and there.
Whoa. Also, Jova, guess where Fraser James was in whatever movie? Resident Evil, the final chapter.
Oh, right. He was in that goddamn movie.
Yeah, a lot of these actors seem to have really bad luck with movies.
I'll say.
Yeah.
The ones with the cleanest
Although,
resumes of them seem to be Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's mainly because they have
I
bigger
argue
resumes.
that unfortunately Linda Hamilton's career in the last couple of years before this movie was
Inactive.
Their most noticeable role was in a TV sci-fi TV series called Defiance, but never took off.
Apparently Mackenzie Davis was in The Martian. I like that film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Don't
So
touch
seriously, she went almost totally without with that one.
Oh,
Again,
hey,
it's
guys,
not-
it's that scene from Fast and Furious 6 on the plane.
Yes, Pedro?
Again, it really is one of those cases where, again, like, talk about such a waste of two really believable. These two are old fossils, Arnold and Linda. They're old fossils, and yet they're still believable action heroes.
Yeah.
Like these two are fucking treasures. Like, my God.
Again, I'd argue they're the best
They're
thing,
so fucking wasted in this tribe.
and yet they're the best things in this movie. Hey, again, may I remind you, Grace has done little to nothing compared to them. Okay, technically she's done this or that.
Oh, hey, Donnie. There you go. I pushed the car. That's my biggest contribution to this story.
No.
Car posture.
So, did the
That should do it.
did the soldier guy survive, or are we just forgetting about him?
It is. For England, Sarah? No. For me.
Actually, considering the situation, I think considering the situation, the Air Force One quotes would have been more appropriate. Get off my plane!
I was referencing 007.
I know.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it's not the strangest interruption to a party ever.
That's the joke. He falls into a barn and he just says, "I'm sorry.
Sorry about your shed."
That's it. That's the best you've got.
You know,
Don't you see, these Rev 9 ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
God, you're lame, Rev 9.
You know what?
God, you're lame.
I hate to say it, but the Rev 9 knows how to handle things better than Grace does, though. If it were Grace, she probably would have gone, "Hey, if you've got any problems, you can take it up with my fist and punch the guy."
But you fell through my shed.
That's
We have a
again.
we have a problem. The script sucks.
Great. The MP bombs are out.
I think it says something that the Rev 9 is more charismatic than Grace is. Like, I get it, he's supposed to be more charismatic.
Never tell me the odds. Seriously, aren't you being reduced to C-3PO in this fucking movie?
Damn straight. So, again, what happened to the soldier guy? Did he just get left?
Sorry, Joe, it's not important.
That's the thing. As far as we know, he died. Like, maybe he's not dead, but he might as well be dead.
The rest of the backstory.
Right.
Well, if it means this franchise will... Well, Donnie, if it means this franchise will finally die and stop making shitty movies,
Okay.
nice thing.
Okay. To Danny's credit, I can see where she's coming from, though, being constantly told, gotta do this way or that, just for the future.
I know that, Jova. I agree. I'm just making a joke.
Right.
So hang on, what about those kill boxes? Didn't we?
Dun, dun, dun! And they're even calling it Judgment Day still! God, is there an original bone in your body?
Because Jova, remember, you saw Terminator 2, right? That was a Terminator 2 thing. Is your nostalgia boner already?
Guys, doesn't Danny look just awesome and war-torn here?
Not just that, they made her look specifically like Clementine from the Walking Dead video game because of this.
Might as well bring that up. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about while I was trying to highlight how believable Mackenzie Davis is, because Natalia Reyes is not believable in this scene at all. She's tiny. She doesn't look like a
there are tiny people that can do action.
I know this, but it depends. Not every actor is fit for every role.
I think a better way to put it is like, well, the way the movie's been portraying her, like even here, it doesn't really look that believable. Like, here's the thing. in Mad Max, the guy who plays Immortan Joe, he speaks it with his presence. This, it feels like she has to put on an act. And I get it, sometimes that is the case, but
Don't
it
you mean
should...
your dark fate? Also, that's a lame catchphrase.
Mackenzie, let me put it like this. Mackenzie Davis comes across natural when she's trying to be badass. This feels like someone who inherently is not a badass trying to come across as a badass, and you can see how how it comes across as try hard rather than genuine.
Also,
Oh, but look at that, guys. Look at that,
guy.
guys. She's so awesome that she's able to convince humanity, who's even at its brink.
I can see what the movie is trying to do, to try to showcase how she can become the leader of the resistance and all that shit by starting from the bottom. The problem is that, like Keith was mentioned, she's not charismatic in the slightest.
Again. So you're telling me that if she were in a movie like Mad Max, she'd be able to convince the people not to be barbarians, but she would actually be able to show them the light of hope and
Even then, the dialogue can be reduced to a just a pancake conversation.
Yeah,
I want to kill you. Please don't do it. Okay.
John Connor in T2, he was very charismatic in that movie. You could definitely see how he could bring people to his side, and he was, and because of the way he was raised in between movies, he became a very smart kid who knows his way with stuff.
Oh, freak you! Freak you!
Exactly.
You're saying that there's no fate, regardless of the fact that killing Skynet just brought on Legion.
Oh, Jova, I think it's this. Yeah.
The complete destruction of the core concept of the Terminator franchise. I hope you're happy.
Okay, but don't you
Because
get it,
I've
guys,
lost
though?
it.
Now, instead of John Connor who saves the future, it's a woman who saves the future. That's pretty much all that is different.
You see, this is exactly what I was talking about. It's about, okay, you know what? James, you've made it very clear, James, with this movie that you hate me for being a Terminator fan. Well, guess what, James? The feeling is mutual.
Like, goddamn, okay. It's like that stupid trend with Charlie's Angels or also the modern Star Wars movies here and there. They either diss the old characters in favor of this new, plucky, strong female character just to show that we've evolved with the times. We woke, yo.
And we care about representation, even though we totally don't.
Again, it's like the Leighton series was the only one who was able to pull that shit off well.
Also, can I talk about how bad the pacing of this movie is? Like, okay, they will literally stop the movie just to give us bits of exposition, and then conveniently, right after they end, boop, suddenly here's the action, boop, suddenly we're moving back on. It does not feel genuine in the slightest.
I'm actually curious right now. Aside from Lady Leighton, what other franchise has managed to pull off this?
What?
Well, the whole what you were just saying, Joe, about trading the original cast for a new female protagonist, like Lady Leighton did.
Well, they technically didn't trade Phoenix, but I guess you could say the later Ace Attorney games with Athena Sykes as the protagonist. Well, as a protagonist.
Is that the whole pun in her name, Psych?
Well, Jova, I can understand what you're saying about for 5, but let's face it, Apollo was the main character of 6.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously. But like when it comes to 5, Athena was a pretty good new addition to the cast as a protagonist, to the point where
Sure, but Athena was great though. Like it's just.
Oh yeah, that's my point. I mean, that is an example of someone who's pulled it off. Are we talking specifically about female protagonists or just new protagonists in general?
Well, that thing you were saying earlier about moving away from the original characters to just put the new female protagonist dead in center.
Okay.
I think you actually know an example, Pedro.
Go ahead.
Nadine.
The what? Sorry, I didn't.
No, actually, it's not Nadine. Whatever. The 2 protagonists of Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Oh, that.
Well, to be fair... Oh, wait. Oh, are you talking about Lost Legacy? Well, that's more a spin-off rather than, confirmation that she'll be replacing
Sony and Naughty Dog to make it a full title as such. I'm regarding it as
No, it's not a spin-off, Jova. It's more like... Okay. Well, here's the thing, too. I would argue that works a lot better because Nathan's story was over. There was no real point in having another Nathan Drake game.
Oh, that's what I mean about someone pulling off by replacing the old cast.
Sure.
True.
Here's the thing,
They don't go around killing Nate in the first 5 minutes of Lost Legacy.
There is a difference, though, Teo. Unlike something like Force Awakens, where there's a brand new spanking female protagonist, Chloe has been a beloved character from the fan base since Uncharted 2. So she was already an established character.
Yeah,
so fans were excited because she was already a beloved character anyway. So by all means, give us a Chloe game.
Okay. Let me bring it up. Okay, let me
This
bring
is also, at least according to the supposed leaks, leaks and development, this was also what supposedly was going to happen for Last of Us Part 2, with Ellie taking full front and center, while Joy was more like background, I guess.
Well, but we already know that Joel is going to go on the journey with her anyway. So.
True, but whatever. That's a topic for when the game will actually come out.
See, here's part of the problem.
By the way, this action scene is so boring.
I'm just I have
How
seen.
can I get bored with explosions?
Again, there have been countless movies that have pulled off this kind of plane sequence so much better. Why is this so bad?
I can't remember if I said this before, but I do think that.
No, we're doing the A-Team thing by a vehicle dropping for a plane. Sorry, go on, Reeves.
In my opinion, the film post T1 and T2 that's had the best action scenes in the series, in my opinion, is T3.
I agree.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
It's it's one of those, again, Taylor. I would argue that I haven't played the game yet, obviously, but I would argue that Last of Us Part 2 falls in the same category, that Ellie is already an established character.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to have her as a protagonist now, because this is.
Well, technically speaking, Pedro, that was the same thought process that Gears 5 went to.
Well, no.
Mind, Jova, I'm not talking about the actual execution at the end, the thought process in making the pre-existing character from previous title now full front and center.
I understand what you mean. I will say this, though. They didn't have a good reason still. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Execution wasn't the best.
Okay. Here's the.
Don't worry. You'll see for yourself.
The sad thing is that I can list a lot of good examples where, it's a new male character replacing the original character. Here's the problem. It seems like there seems to be this tendency that whenever a female is the one replacing the classic character, there's always these stupid tropes that do it because they think, oh, we gotta do it to make them even more awesome here and there. Like, it says something that it even occurred with the original Captain Marvel, too, here and there. Admittedly, though, she's kind of like better in the comics before they made her the new Iron Man, but I digress here. The point is, it always seems like whenever it's a female replacing a new character, we've always got to have these stupid tropes of dissing the old characters, trying to make them look silly in comparison to the new character, or showing off that we're woke, yo.
Question, Jova. How many episodes of the latest anime have you seen?
Well, okay. I said most cases, not all.
No, I'm aware of that. I'm just asking, so I can properly know what to ask.
God, I can't remember. I'm gonna say at least 12.
I'm assuming you didn't get to the final episodes then. Let's just say the reunion between two specific characters is a perfect example of how you can go with past and present hand in hand.
Oh, joy! Okay, guys, are you ready for the most biggest "what an idiot" moment in this movie?
Oh, great!
And that's saying something.
Okay, now this scene deserves to be dissected here and there. Because they try to pass it off as awesome, but it's really stupid.
Okay, Teo, why not? Might as well ask. Is this legit?
Yes, but it doesn't magically fix it altogether. You still feel incredible amount of pain, and you need at least a couple of minutes to readjust. And ideally, you will still need rehabilitation afterward.
Yeah, well, hey guys, at this point, at this point.
Excuse me, wait, seriously?
Grace, no.
What the fuck? Grace, you do realize that you're dropping a vehicle in a body of water with people inside them. You maybe want to get them outside. No?
Oh, but don't worry.
God,
not-
you suck at this, Grace.
Do not worry, guys. The amount of stupidity has not even begun to meet its peak.
Yeah,
Okay.
please,
Everyone
Teo.
in the vehicle drowned.
Teo. Oh my God, Teo. I just thought of something concerning your point.
Wait, hold on. I gotta point this out. So, okay, wait, actually, this is a quick point. It may take a bit of a while to show up.
Find the lights. What
Okay, right. Okay.
what are the lights gonna help you do? See, like 2 feet in front of you?
Oh,
So
wait,
yeah, go ahead.
now here comes the point. Okay, so they are effectively going to drown now. Because,
Physics.
more water is
Physics.
going to come
What are
pouring
those?
in.
Yeah.
You
Wait,
know, at
what?
this point, anyway, I was just gonna say at this point, I could be watching Michael Sheen play a quiz show host, but no, I'm watching this.
Yeah, I'll take Michael Sheen playing his character from Twilight.
Okay, so let us get down to the nitty gritty here. At this point, the Rev 9 can win. They are effectively going to drown. So, what is he going to do?
No, he wants to go personally.
Whatever.
Also, how
Well,
the hell is
I
a
mean-
gun firing
mean-
underwater?
I mean, there's making sure that they're dead, and then there's
Being an
being
idiot.
extremely
Okay.
overconfident.
Okay. How it should have ended pretty much pointed out the obvious ploy. He just shakes his head and watches them drown from within the car. But nope, he helps punch the window open, which allows them to escape. Holy Christ! You absolute moron! You could have had them there. You literally had the winning pieces right there. But no, you threw it away. You threw the game away, and now you deserve getting destroyed.
Yeah, like we've been talking about up until this point, Grace really sucks balls.
Yeah.
Again,
Again, that wasn't her victory. That was Sarah Connors' victory there.
Exactly. But that's the thing, Jova. Now that I think about it, this also calls another thing in question.
What?
Remember, Grace was trained and taught by Danny. So this kind of puts in question, how is she really that good of a military leader, considering that her star pupil sucks balls?
Donnie the more I think about it, Donnie sounds more and more like a glorified spokesperson than an actual military leader. Like,
Pretty
sure,
much.
So either Danny is a really shitty teacher, or Grace never listened to any word that she said.
or
By the
both.
way, we're almost in climax territory, just letting you know. Even if he doesn't feel
I'm
at
just-
all like it.
And of course Grace is
Yeah,
Needs to recharge. Grace
You know-
needs food.
okay.
badly.
I get I get not wanting to make your hero too OP, but a weakness as shitty as this.
This sounds again like a very very well like what's it called a fabrication defect.
Yeah, I'll explain this. I get the feeling I know what happened. I get the feeling that in an earlier draft of this script, Grace didn't have this weakness and she was just incredibly OP. But then someone in the writing team thought, you know what, Grace is way too OP and it's gonna
Please
have no,
Nintendo.
and it's gonna create no tension whatsoever. So someone thought of this idea that she needs to recharge every 10 minutes or whatever.
But in the process, it makes her as you said earlier, it makes her a pretty ineffective
Guardian.
here. Yeah, I mean, if you can't even keep going, if you can only do 2-minute bursts at a time, then it's like,
Wait for it.
what's the point?
Yeah.
Come on, say it. Say
I'm
the
back.
line.
Yeah, have they gone back?
Even the rendition of the Terminator theme is lame.
Okay. So, they didn't give the I'm back line, but they gave instead the Terminator 2 line. Lady, he doesn't even have his arm left, and yet I still feel like I'd have more faith in him than I do
literally.
you. Like, look at this.
I mean, he's missing an arm and he's still going. You wear yourself out in like 3 minutes.
Like, again, at least the cyborg in Terminator Salvation didn't have this weakness either.
But I just thought of something though.
Yeah.
when was the first time she had to recharge herself? Like an hour and a half ago or something.
Yeah, in the
and yet she's been
in the
fighting.
border patrol.
Yet she's been fighting way longer than 3 minutes. Only now she's.
That's very easy to explain, Dwebs. Allow me to introduce you to the concept of plot convenience writing. You see, Dwebs, Grace's weakness only happens when it's convenient for the story. You see?
It's very convenient that
Sure.
that has never happened literally in the middle of a fight with the Rev 9.
Oh
Only-
yeah, Shane, that will totally out. A base.
It boils down to this, Dwebs. Grace's weakness is nothing but a convenience for the plot.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Maybe I saw it wrong. Maybe it's like a glorified like key or a component for a mechanism, but it looked like a mace.
So yeah, everybody, welcome to our climax.
In a damn. How? Like,
Give me the girl. I'm sorry. Did a Terminator literally just ask politely, "Give me the girl"? You really should.
Let's just see, John.
How do you even know that you were built for
They're
this?
more
Because as we
polite.
all know, guys, Terminators ask politely before they attack, right? Isn't that their thing?
Gotta love how we're trying to make this arc by saying but terminated
Okay.
by Arnold.
Okay.
Arnold
I get that.
telling the Rev 9 that he's gonna become like him.
Okay, I get that this is not a Skynet Terminator. It's a Regiment.
I don't like that line though. We're not machines, you metal motherfucker. That's like something you see in a bloody fanfic.
It's way trying too hard. Okay, I get that this is not a Skynet Terminator. It's a Legion Terminator. So maybe they're programmed differently. You can make that argument, but I don't know. It's just.
Congrats!
Also, the almighty Rev 9 stopped multiple times by a fucking chain.
I guess the thing you can say is that it didn't stop him forever.
But don't you see, Teo? He's in 800 series. He's obsolete.
Well, that's Grace. And Grace is down already.
God, you suck. Why are you even in this movie?
Oh.
That effect doesn't even look. That effect doesn't even look that cool. If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, actually, let me ask you, these dweebs, how do you rate the CGI of this?
I'd rate it a bit above, I'd rate it above Salvation for sure.
Congrats! It's rating above
Maybe-
a
Well,
2000.
maybe
Maybe-
years later.
Wow,
Maybe
that
it-
chain really must be
maybe-
powerful.
Maybe a little bit above Genesis, although I think 3 had better CGI.
Arnold, not
And
for
that
nothing.
and that film came out in 2003.
Arnold, not for nothing. Why didn't you just throw the skeleton into the turbine right there? That probably could have grinded it up.
Hell, Jurassic Park had better CG. I would argue.
Yes,
And that
it
was
did.
in 1993.
Alright, round 3.
Again, why didn't he just throw it into the turbine there? Like, that could have hacked it up. Tag team. Or not.
Also, now he's trying to learn.
Well,
He's
actually,
learning
Joe-
how to dodge.
Well, I guess this would technically be a hardcore tag match. I guess if it was a wrestling match.
Honey,
Oh,
the
now you
Terminator
throw him
was
into the
actually
turbine.
one of the WWE 2K games.
So I guess Grace is technically invulnerable so long as she doesn't run out of power. It's really not clear.
No, not into the pit. It burns.
Uh-oh.
So Teo, what?
He needs a final push.
So Teo, what do you think? What do you think? Is it worth spending the extra money to play as Rev 9 and Grace in Gears 5 multiplayer?
Oh, absolutely.
For the record, Mackenzie Davis was actually brought in to record extra lines for the game.
Wow. Boom.
Honestly, I prefer. Honestly, even by the fact that even if Arnold did not reprise the role, the T800 character in Mortal Kombat 11 is a much better tribute to that.
Yeah.
And my country got even a luxury treatment because they got his recurring Italian voice actor who normally doesn't do video games at all.
Nice.
But since he's actually a person that Arnold likes, because Arnold has a tendency of following the personal voice act team all over the world, and he particularly likes his Italian voice actor. We got the good treatment.
I wonder who dubs him in German.
Well, it's more like Austrian, but I guess we use German language there.
It's interesting. You'd think Arnold would voice the Austrian version, considering, you know.
He doesn't even do that for the American version, so I don't know. But he personally choose the voice actors for all the languages. Hence why, again, we got the luxury treatment. So I don't know who he chose for the German version.
Maybe he's a better actor than he is a voice actor.
Oh no, guys! Grace may finally be dying because.
Whatever. This was she was gonna.
Okay,
Java. It was only a matter of time before she died because she's a moron.
natural selection. But here's what I don't get: what exactly dictates that she die aside from running out of juice? Like, is it because she's leaking blood? Like, you know, for as much they talk about her being an enhanced cybernetic human being, they don't really explain much about her biology except for that she runs out of batteries.
Hang on, don't. Sorry, I think I missed that scene. What happened to those kill boxes?
No,
we
they were
shot.
shot and were unusable. Oh my god, you're serious?
Wait. Did they literally get dropped?
Yes.
No, they got shot.
What was the point of that then?
Because Dwebs.
Wait! Oh my God, guys, we're finally
that's
gonna
why.
learn. We're finally gonna learn Grace's purpose for being sent back.
I mean, I've never liked that trope even in good movies.
Or at least I think.
Establish something, but then.
Wow.
Sorry. I was just trying to say, I never liked that thing even in good movies. Setting up something to help save the day, but then dropping in before you even get the chance to at least see it.
Yeah. Why are you even crying? You have had zero. The only conversations you had between you and her was exposition. Do you even know her? Like, do you know her? Do you know her interests? What she likes? What she dislikes? Like, seriously, I'm a serious question. Have these two characters actually talked to each other outside of spotting exposition?
But look at that, guys. The purpose for Grace being sent back was to use her core to
kill the Rev 9.
Apparently, this was all part of the plan.
You took everything I had, bastard.
Why is she saying that in Spanish all of a sudden?
Because
that's her native language.
Because shut up. That's why.
Again, Mexican, even though she's played by a Dominican.
I'm gonna kill you, fucker. Okay, so
Colombian.
So what do you think, Dib? Is she believable in the action in this fight scene?
Well, we only ever saw.
No,
we only ever saw her fire one weapon twice, and the only reason she was accurate was because of Sarah Connor's magical words.
Not only that,
no,
She is literally taking on the Rev 9 in close quarters combat. No, just no. This thing's supposed to be a bigger threat than even the T-1000.
She called him by his name.
Look at that.
Nothing against you, Natalia Reyes. I'm sure.
And look at that. But she doesn't even get the final victory here because, of course, it's got to be Arnold. Not that I'm complaining.
I think she's gonna steal Jamie. There you go, like that.
Yeah, nothing against you, Natalia Reyes. I'm sure you're a nice person. I just don't think you were the right person for this role.
I'm sorry, that scene where she's screaming at him, that was, that just looked narmy.
Oh, never mind, Jova. You're right. Arnold gets the killing blow.
Yeah.
You are terminated.
They couldn't even get that one, I think.
Well, like this franchise is at the minute.
Pretty much.
This franchise should have been terminated a long time ago, and hopefully
Pretty
now
much.
it is.
Wait for it. Come on, say the line.
I am terminated.
Why does he have to sacrifice himself?
Oh, you fools!
Actually, he does have a final line. It's for John, because remember, that's what he always said in the messages that he sent to Sarah.
Legit question. Why did he have to sacrifice himself? He could have literally have just
because
dropped
he
him.
does that in Terminator 2.
I have a question. Exactly what Theo said, because that happened in Terminator 2, so we thought we would do it again.
Hey.
Also,
because,
I'm checking Pedro. This is literally the stage fatality in Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh my
Basically,
god.
yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? The scene from Terminator Genesis where he's defeating John Connor's Terminator, except this time I guess he dies.
And that's his final one.
Doesn't this happen as well in one of the game overs of a combat game? You fall into a pit and you get.
Like you said, it's one of the stage fatalities.
No. But he, the Dwebs is right there. Remember, like if you have a game over, there's a hidden game over screen that shows characters dead in the
True.
pit.
Yeah, you're right.
So this is actually right there.
So there you go, guys. Carl, the best thing about this movie is dead.
Atomized.
System
Exactly.
critical.
Fuck you, asshole.
You know, again, this entire purpose, like, is trying to make you nostalgic for Terminator 2. Again, it just makes me wish I was watching the second movie again.
You know, again, we did not need to kill the Terminator here. Like, I get it, you know, he said he's probably not coming back.
I'm legitimately surprised, Joel, that they didn't kill Sarah Connor. Like, I was so thinking at this point she was gonna die.
But Theo, Nani needs someone to train her.
Ugh.
So there you go, everybody. Donnie becomes Sarah's pupil.
Yay.
Even though John Connor was supposed to be her pupil, but...
So, when you really get down to it, literally the only thing that changed was the gender of the person who's supposed to save humankind.
Okay, Dwebs, I propose a moment of silence for Grace. You know, because...
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll forget her in T-minus second. Yep,
Yeah,
already
all right,
forgot.
all right then, guys. Let's have our moment of silence. Okay, done.
Oh, look at that! And there's Grace as a
Get
kid.
it? No, get it? This is the... Yeah, just like in Terminator 2.
Wow!
Oh my god.
we're creatively bankrupt.
Aw, isn't that cute? That girl's life is gonna be ruined, and we can't do a damn thing about it. This is a happy ending. Actually, no, it's just an ending.
But don't you see, guys? This is just the beginning.
No!
But notice how Donnie was able to catch the keys without fail. That means she's a badass now.
Yeah, Sarah's like, well, fuck my life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, to be
Which
fair,
is such a
Theo,
shame because
to be fair, Theo, Judgment Day is coming, so it's not like
Oh,
she
guys,
has responsibility
guys.
for her life.
Guys, once again, we end with the heroes leaving in a Jeep, just like Terminator 1.
But it's the boulevard of Back to the Future? What? Where we go, we don't need roads.
Is there a post-credit scene?
I don't think so.
Let me check.
No.
I'll just leave the copy going on, but I'll go for my final thoughts in the meantime.
No.
What a putrid mess.
Oh, boy.
Once again, when you think the Terminator franchise can't sink even lower than it is, it miraculously finds a way to do it.
Terminator's Terminator's another franchise in a long line of long-running franchises that, starting with 2017, just petered out. We had Star Wars, which was starting to get bad in 2017. We had Jurassic Park. Like, people liked Jurassic World, but then Fallen Kingdom had to come in and ruin things. Then we have flipping Harry Potter with, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, The Crimes of Grindelwald screwing the pooch badly.
And Knuckles.
What are you talking about, Jova? Clearly, human clones was something the Jurassic Park franchise needed.
Oh, God almighty. Okay, I just have to know, is there like a special convention where people go, okay, this franchise has been running for too long, let's just do our best to kill it by making it the worst it could be, because...
And that's ironic, Joe. The ones that actually legitimately did a good attempt in reviving franchise got ignored, like Blade Runner.
I know, right?
Although Joe, I will argue that I think Fallen Kingdom has two things over this movie.
Go on.
A better protagonist.
Okay, one's financial. I mean, that movie did a lot better than this one financially, but that's just thingy. But two, I had more fun watching that film in spite of all its problems.
I can definitely agree with that.
Than Dark Fate. I mean, at least J.A. Bayona when he directed Fallen Kingdom. He did a good job directing all the action and all the actors there.
Yeah, sure.
Oh
That's
yeah,
another-
I will give you that.
That-
The very
Tim
common
Miller.
Controvaro's hack script.
yeah.
That's another thing. Not even the Jurassic World managed to survive. Well, indeed, good financially thanks to brand name alone. Terminator couldn't. Just think about this. We're literally in a state where the Terminator brand name can't even make its movies sell decently. Not even like super past box office of a month, but not even enough to recoup the budget. Barely. Not even barely.
Whereas even Fallen Kingdom can reach $1 billion.
Like, for as
But
bad as
anyway,
Fallen
let
Kingdom
me-
was, I could say I still had fun with it, and I do have hopes that they'll be able to, clean up their act with the next movie.
I honestly
This,
think
though,
Fallen Kingdom, and by extension, at least for me, the first Jurassic World, contains elements that grants more fun, at least in making fun of.
Oh,
I still don't think they're good elements, but at least I can have fun making fun of. This is just depressing.
Like, okay. You know what this would have been like? This would have been like if the Indominus Rex killed Rexy at the end of World. But no! Rexy got an awesome fight and lived because she's the
Not just that,
goddamn T-Rex.
also strip away any kind of charm or comedy ability that Chris Pratt may have. That's
too,
what this
yeah.
movie is. But no, let me continue very quickly. As a story, it doesn't make sense. It continues to fuck up with the space-time continuum. It kills John Connor in literally the beginning of the movie. It dwells itself too much in trying to make cool social commentary, so we can have the Twitter user suspect retweet about us and giving us some marketing for brownie points, even though that clearly didn't pay it off. Even the returning cast, Linda Hamilton is, to me, Linda Hamilton is probably the best thing, and even then, she still has the moments where she completely loses it in terms of, script. And I argue a couple of her deliveries are not even that great. Like when she said she wants to kill Arnold when she meets him, her delivery is like, I'll kill you, instead of being more desperate. Arnold, he shows up too late. He has some kind of cool lines, but he does barely jack squat, and he's more of a punching bag for the Rev 9. Which
I did notice too that you didn't pronounce yourself about that sneak peek into a much better what if scenario. What do you think?
I actually told you, I agree with that, and I even made a joke of that. Hell, I would even take that and turn that into a sitcom-like comedy. There is legit potential, because if there's anything that Arnold is good at, is to be comically serious.
Again, that's sort of what... It's funny, because that's sort of what Robot Chicken
context,
did.
Yes, I will take a movie about a Terminator realizing self-consciousness and trying to cope with it. And having to deal with the ghosts of past, the potential new Terminators arising, finding himself to be a hero. Honestly, it's the kind of puppet I will see from a tie-in comic, to say the least. A lot of tie-in comic to famous movie franchise tackles these kind of issues, just in different ways, of course. But anyway, the new threat with the Rev 9, they made sure to play up the angle of being unstoppable, because this thing is so unrelentless, and not even in a fun way. This guy just literally doesn't stop for anything, and even when he dies, you don't get the satisfaction you had with the previous Terminators dying. It's just annoying. No blaming for the actor, I guess. He really tried his best. Grace, wasted potential to say the least. She's better than a couple of the strong, independent woman character that unfortunately have been a thing in these recent couple of years. I will still take that hair, and both as a role and as her actress, over Brie Larson as Captain Marvel every day. And that says a lot, considering I still believe this movie to be worse than Captain Marvel. Talk about a paradox.
I can never see what you mean, though. I mean, she's a lot more charismatic than Captain Marvel, and she's not near as much the point of what that Captain Marvel is.
Once again, they give her a shitty script to work with.
But Joe, you have to stop being so emotional.
And
God.
yeah, and sexist. No, Danny is the new leader of Resistance. I get
You
that
might as
they're
well just
trying.
call Danny what she is, the female John Connor when you get down to it.
They're trying, and once again, I applaud the movie for trying to showcase the fact that she wants to, build up the resistance by talking, but she doesn't do much. Honestly, I argue that the John Connor from the Terminator Salvation video game was better built up in making the resistance and becoming its leader.
Yep.
And considering how boring and bad that game is, that still says a lot.
Like I've said, Salvation I find to be a better movie than this.
Side characters are non-existent. Once again, the movie tries desperately to tackle modern issues like the immigration,
But
gun
what about
control.
Officer Rigby, T.O.?
Yeah, he completely disappears. Did he die? I think since he was in the plane, I think he died.
I really think he was just knocked
Bastard.
out when Sarah Connor choked him.
Yeah, but they
But
carried.
then he will soon be dead because he was.
But they not just that, they carried him on the plane, so he technically speaking died one way or the
Wait,
other.
wait. No. Chill. I'm talking about Officer Rigby, the guy at the jail.
Oh, the guy
the
Sarah
dick guy,
strangulated.
the same guy who was in. What else was he in that we
Why
mentioned?
we even give you a name if you just literally had 2 minutes of screen time?
But if you're talking about the soldier guy, I definitely agree. The black soldier guy.
At least he wasn't the first to die. At least
We have no idea what happened to him.
still, like I said, side characters are forgettable, bad tackling of social issues. The score is non-existent to me. Even the Terminator theme is incorporated in such a cardboard way. It's not. I argue that even the heroic version of Terminator Salvation was more memorable than this. Once again, that says a lot. With each Terminator is this franchise where each movie keeps getting progressively worse, and you don't think it can get even worse than this, but it does. Bad resolution, bad setup for a set of sequels that will probably never happen, hopefully. And I can understand that Paramount acquiring a license of this, they wanted to try desperately to pull the franchise in a direction. First with Genesis and now with this. But I argue Genesis was a better setup than this, unfortunately. And I can only hope if they really, really want to continue this franchise after this bombing and all, please guys, just do a reboot. For the sake of the characters that you have established with Sarah Connor and the T-800, let Arnold rest. Let have a new complete Terminator, a complete blank slate where you can rewrite the rules of time travel, the enemies that you want, the characters that you want, also Tencent, and you can be free from this. Mind you, with this past experience, I'm not confident that even in this kind of scenario, it could result in a good movie. But I argue it's the best shot that Paramount has right now at this franchise. So we'll see what happens. As for me, I will see how the Terminator Resistance game is after I get a copy of it. But anyway, next.
So yeah, in terms of how I'd rank Terminator movies, I'm going to disagree with Joe, but I would, if you tie me to a chair and force me to watch either this or Terminator Salvation, you give me this because at the very least there's a whole bunch of crazy shit I can at least talk about. Or
I absolutely understand where you're coming from.
But whereas all Salvation offers is a desert, somehow managing to make a Helena Bonham Carter role boring. Christian Bale doing his shtick, which, depending on the film, could either be really entertaining or not.
I get where you're coming from. Terminator Dark Fate is a wreckage that is strewn with lava that will burn you if you step on it. So it's definitely the worst one. But Terminator Salvation is a desert, which can tire you out with its natural elements, even though it's technically not as dangerous or bad in this case.
Plus Big G is a terrible director.
Yeah, again, like I said, I still find Salvation to be a better movie than this, but I will not I will totally see where you're coming from if you would rather watch this over Salvation. It's technically, like I said, it's technically a better put together movie than Salvation. Mind you, I still find it worse than Salvation for what it does, but hey, I don't blame you.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, well, Salvation's just. I mean, Salvation's a bad film, but it's also really dull.
Not
Like
just that.
everything's washed out. The actors, especially the really good ones, are either just meh or give pretty hokey performances. No doubt, probably down to, like I said, Big G's terrible direction. The fact that the writers of that film had a whole previous film's mistakes to learn from because they wrote T3 before Salvation and they learned nothing. Whereas this film at least has the... Well, actually, no, it doesn't, because James Cameron wrote this too. Never mind.
I mean, you could argue that the people had, like, all 5 movies to look back on to learn lessons from. They didn't learn a thing.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the unfortunately there's this you're talking about current talentless hack James Cameron rather than the James Cameron that made Terminator 2, because that James Cameron doesn't exist anymore. Let's face it.
What is even aside from the Avatar sequel? What is he doing right now? I'm gonna check all
Nothing.
you guys talk.
The Avatar sequel.
Yep, he is pretty much dead set
So
focused on the
he's
Avatar
banking on
sequels
that.
now.
Yeah, and that movie was supposedly gonna come out this year, but yeah, the coronavirus probably.
Actually, no.
No, it was
Remember?
supposed to come out in 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Disney officially issued that the plan that they had was to have one Avatar movie one year and a Star Wars movie the next, starting with 2021. We'll see if they keep that, but we know for certain that Avatar 2 is stated for December 2021.
But being better than... Unfortunately, being better than Terminator Salvation is exactly a badge of honor or anything when you got your own problems.
Oh God, yes.
The terrible dialogue, the either blandness or just plain horribleness of the characters, except for Carl.
The cock tease of a much better movie we could have gotten.
It says something that the character of the most character is the robot, the literal robot.
The blandness of the music.
Except for when they're remixing the main theme, admittedly.
Well, I mean, that's not much.
I don't know, Joe. I'm with Teo. I don't think even the rendition of the main theme is that good, to be honest.
Like I said, they make it Mexican.
The action, that's at best decent and at worst extremely unconvincing. And I mean, okay. I mean, it's like I said before. It doesn't matter what gender you are for being an action hero. Bad dialogue is something that doesn't discriminate.
Once again, Leaves, a character should be a character before anything else.
It can kill the vibe of any kind of action hero, no matter what gender you are.
Yeah, let me ask a question, Leaves.
Like some of the bad dialogue and kind of overly violent moments killed Grace's potential here.
Let me ask a question, Dwebs. As a character, what do you think of Grace? Well, what do you think Grace is as a character?
Teo, in order for us to say anything about that, she would have to actually have a character.
Well, I can say something about that.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Try it.
She can whack things.
That's not a character. That's a function.
She's very antagonizing.
Let me help you, Dwebs. Again, let's take the red lemon approach. Describe Grace's character without mentioning her role in the movie, what she can do physically, and how she looks like physically.
She's angry a lot.
She's a dick a lot.
No, I said she's angry a lot.
Okay, she's angry a lot. That's not really a character trait.
That's the Doom Marine trait.
Peter, I can only go off what the movie's giving me here.
That's exactly my point, Dwebs.
Let me refine that. She's angry and not in a compelling way, because you know who's angry, but you still love to see smashing things up. The Doom Marine, and she's not.
Actually, I will admit, for a moment, I thought you were going to say the Hulk when you mentioned smashing things up. But yeah, Doom Marine definitely is a compelling
Doom
character.
Marine is a person that's literally too angry to die, but you want to see killing everything on screen.
Yeah. And mind you,
Carry on, Dubs.
Yeah, go on. Let's not deviate too much.
Well, honestly, she's not even that good of an action hero. She can only fight for like 2 minutes before, I think in 2019, I think there were 2 extremes for superheroes. There was Captain Marvel, who was absolutely the best at everything to ever do with any superpower ever, and then there's Grace here, who can barely do anything without running out of charge. I'm surprised it didn't get to the point where she couldn't even walk without a battery draining or whatever she has.
how many fights did she actually win herself in this movie?
None.
None, actually.
Sarah
It
Connor
makes
won
sense.
one.
It makes sense by the end because her entire purpose was to give Danny her core to be used as a weapon.
So her purpose was
hell,
literally to die.
She was a weapon carrier. That's it.
Wow.
Although, but hell, how old is Sarah Connor's actress now at this point?
Linda.
It's just, Linda Hamilton is like 80, I think, around there.
I'll check.
I don't think she's 80. There you are, she's 63. It's sad when she can. It's sad when the supposedly ultra advanced high tech cyborg fighting person is being bested in a fight, which doesn't even get to end her own fight. She gets beaten by the fight is actually ended by bloody 63-year-old Linda Hamilton.
She's only 63. She looks quite older than that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I mean, hell, Arnie does more in the fights, and he's even older.
Oh yeah, he's at least in his 70s.
Let me see. Arnold he's 72.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like,
And that's the thing. The older, slower people do more fights, do more of the fighting than the character who looks like she's, a physically fit 30-year-old.
Gets
It's
even better.
It completely threw me off. I mean, just looking at her, like it screams at least 70s, but no, 63. Damn.
Wow.
There's one positive thing. Linda Hamilton aged well.
Well, actually, it's
kind of the opposite.
Because she looks way older than she actually is. So it's actually not a good
Hey,
sign.
that could be an advantage too in a fight. You think you so she's going to be easy. She looks so old, but then she kicks your ass because she's actually a lot younger than you think.
That is a good point, I guess.
But anyway, as for the other characters, there's what's her name?
Danny.
The John Connor replacement, yeah. Danny is the character. Let's move on.
Not even Danny gets to win her own battle in the end when you get down to it. At best, she stabs it in the eye, then Schwarzenegger does the rest.
Well, that's more than what Grace did.
Damn. That's true.
Okay, as for Sarah, well, I mean, I'm glad she doesn't die off screen like she did in 3. And she does have a couple of decent moments, but that's about it. Arnie's definitely the best thing about this movie. It seems to be a recurring trend with the post-2 movies.
Uh-huh.
Well, except for when you were even him. There's some guy with his face dubbed taken over in CGI. There aren't really many others, are there?
No.
I mean, at most there was her the guy's what was the guy who died to sacrifice her brother or a boyfriend?
Her boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
No, I think it was brother actually.
No. I'm pretty sure it was boyfriend.
No.
Well,
remember, she even came to a from with. Remember, they were both living with her father in her house.
Yeah.
It
But she
doesn't-
was mentioned
it doesn't-
as his boyfriend. Oh God, let me
Well,
double check.
I mean, he dies in 5 minutes, so it doesn't matter. That's all the characters I can remember off the top of my head. Oh yeah, the villain.
Oh, her dad got killed, by the way, I think. At least we'll have to assume it.
The villain name.
Rev 9. Rev
gonna call him
9, that's his name.
Rev 9. I was going to call him the Praxius for some reason.
I'm gonna kill Praxis.
I mean, the idea of him being able to split himself and still function isn't a bad idea. Unfortunately, he's just not that compelling a villain. That I think I've already mentioned. I think I've mentioned everything now. Is there anything I might have missed?
Well, I guess there's the
here-
action.
Here you go, Jova. It's her brother, Diego. Here we go. Just check.
Oh, there you are. The action. The action. Yeah, like I said before. When action in a movie that came out 16 years before does action better for the most part than you, with a much bigger, with all this talent at your disposal. I think something's gone wrong, which was baffling. I mean, Deadpool had good to decent action at worst. Here, the action doesn't get any better than decent.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And yeah, it's meant to be an action movie, you know.
So, would you say this was worth killing John Connor in the first 3 or 4 minutes for?
Guys, no film is worth killing John Connor in the first 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Even if this movie were amazing, that would have been a tough sell.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because if the film were amazing yet they still killed John Connor off, it would have pissed. I think it would have still pissed people off.
It's like with Mission Impossible 1. The movie is technically pretty great, but they do that one little thing that you just know is going to piss off fans of the original series.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, I don't believe in the hyperbole that seems to be going around that one bad scene can reduce the movie to being bad. And I'm like, I mean, it wasn't good, but it was one scene, guys. If you're reacting as though the whole movie were like that.
If it's a scene that affects the entire movie, then yes, one scene can make it retroactively bad.
Allow me to add to that.
Well, that's the thing, though, because if that were the case, like 80% of movies that are considered good should fall into that trap.
Well, I'm not saying all cases are like that, but think How I Met Your Mother.
I think the only way it would work is if there were like outside circumstances affecting the thing. Like if you have that in mind, then you see what happens in the movie. You'd be like, "Oh, this isn't very good," but at the same time, I can understand why they did it. Like maybe the actor wasn't available for whatever reason.
You're saying, Pedro?
Allow me to add to that. Here's the thing, Dres. Yeah, I can see your point, but at the same time, it also, like Jova was saying, it depends on what implications and what impact it has on the story overall. If it's something like, say, for example, a bad ending, yeah, it depends on what the ending itself does to the rest of the story. However, when it comes to this particular movie, the reason I hate the first 4 or 5 minutes of this movie so much is because it's basically a big middle finger to me for liking Terminator 2. And even if the rest of this movie was a brilliant masterpiece, I would still hate this movie on principle just because this movie went out of its way to insult me, and I don't like being insulted. So it boils down to the fact that this movie flat out insults its audience, and you cannot do that without people, turning against you, regardless of how good your movie is. If you do something like this, you're gonna piss people off, regardless of what.
And considering how this movie bombed pretty badly, yeah, the backlash was definitely felt.
Well, to be fair, I don't think it was just that scene alone that caused the movie to tank, because it's got all the other problems.
Let's just say it was the crowning reason, though.
Let me put it like this, Whips. Imagine if Kingsman 2. Let's forget what actually was Kingsman 2. Let's forget for a moment the real Kingsman 2. Imagine if Kingsman 2 started with Eggsy being killed.
Well, it would depend on the circumstances, wouldn't it?
It would, but let's imagine that he was killed, but not for a good reason.
Well, again, it depends. I mean, would it be related to the film's plot, or would it be something to do with outside things going on?
Pretty much. Let's just assume that, it's something that... Okay, imagine like it's in the similar circumstances to this movie. It did not help the plot whatsoever. It was just a stupid ploy to try and get fan shock.
And it wouldn't be like, oh, we couldn't have him in the movie because the actor was literally available for like just this 5 minutes.
And let's imagine that right after his death, who gets resurrected.
Voldemort. I mean, that'd be pretty shitty.
No, you know who I'm talking about.
What, in Kingsman 2?
Yeah, you know how you don't like how who gets resurrected?
Well, I mean, the world of Kingsman was pretty, is inherently daft in the first place, but unfortunately, the Kingsman 2, it kind of tipped the scale a bit, if that makes any sense.
Whatever. The point is, let's really think about it. The opening scene in Terminator Dark Fate is enough to get somebody to walk up and get out of the theater. And if a scene is that bad, yeah, consider the movie pretty much ruined as far as that person is concerned.
I remember my reaction. I was baffled, but overall, I would rather watch this than say Salvation. But that's not exactly saying a whole lot. It's still not a very good movie, and I could definitely see why attempt 2 by Paramount / Fox Disney in this case ended up not going very well financially for them.
Yeah.
Well, but hey, who knows? Maybe Terminator Jenny Fate will help, or something, whatever it's called. I don't know.
Can we just have this franchise die for once and for all?
Or at the very least reboot it. So.
Pedro, if not Terminator, I'll do it with some other series.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's me done.
All right, I'll go next. Oh boy. This kind of reflects our video game commentating career. Every time we think we found the worst thing, something worse comes. Terminator, man. I feel for the fans. I feel for the franchise. This is a fate worse than death. What is arguably the main protagonist of this franchise was just killed mercilessly with pretty much no fanfare whatsoever. It's not just the fact that they killed John Connor, but the way they treat it is so badly. There's no fanfare about it, no nice drawn-out scene to actually reflect on it, just a mantra by Sarah Connor before we fade to black and then all of a sudden are thrown in with these new characters or whatnot. When you get down to it, you could easily edit out this death, and it wouldn't really matter, except for the fact that, instead of it being Skynet, it's Legion, which are pretty much Skynet and everything but name. And that's pretty much it. I hate this movie on principle. I hate this movie the way it is even without the death, because it's just that bad. I despise a lot of the characters because they are just either uninteresting or, in Grace's case, a useless dick. Again, Grace is all aggressive and everything, but when you get down to it, she fails at a lot of her fights. Sure, yeah, she can fight, but she doesn't really win. Was she the last dance whatsoever? And in this case, is it even a case where the team is winning, or just that Danny is leading the regiment that goes up against the machines? It's so vague, and it feels like it's just stuff for sequel baiting at best, and that's why they have stuff be vague. It's a train wreck, and one that was made a train wreck for the sake of trying to make a quick buck, it feels like. Except when you realize who's involved, you're like, no, this can't just be for a quick buck. They actually legit believed this was a good idea. Which, I don't know if that's even worse or not. Holy cow. What's worse? Something that turns out to be good but was made on a quick buck, or something that turns out to be bad but was made with passion? Jesus. The music outside of the main theme is not that memorable. The setting is really bland and dull, despite being set mainly in Mexico here in Texas, because get it? Guns and weird hats and all that be what Texas is all about, yo. The characters. Danny, as a John Connor replacement, is weak. Grace, as the surrogate android protector, is so weak to the point where natural selection literally grabs her by the throat and takes her because, get it? Her purpose was just literally to die so that she could provide the core that would make Danny a true leader or protector or something. Kind of makes me wonder why they couldn't have just made another one of her cores, but maybe supplies are limited? Again, we're not really told enough about the future. And even when they try and show us stuff, it's not stuff that's believable, really. And you know what? And you know why? Because I get the feeling that even the makers deep down knew that this is just Terminator done all over again. Like, they're like, we don't need to know about the future because the future is exactly the way it was. Just, like I said, Skynet by another name. And it really ticks me off with how callous they are about it. Now, as far as Girl Power the movie things go, I'm going to agree with Tio that this is not the worst one, although you can definitely feel the bouts of it, though, trying to insist that Danny is this new awesome hero when it ain't believable.
So it's basically exactly like Gears 5, yeah.
Yeah, and Grace, again, at least they don't try and constantly tell us that Grace is this awesome female character, but they do fall into the same trap of making supposedly strong female characters dicks or aggressive or people who will bite your head off for so much as looking you the wrong way.
Oh my god, I just realized maybe that's why there's that crossover in Gears 5 multiplayer, because both of them have the exact same attitude when it comes to this topic.
The weird thing is that Kate didn't even start out that way in Gears 4, which is odd.
True. Yeah, true.
But yeah, you're right though. Kate does become that in Gears 5 pretty much. It's like, I feel almost no joy seeing these characters interact until Carl enters the picture, because it seems like he's the one who actually gets them to work together, put their heads together, and that they're just after your womb line. Oh boy, that's gonna go down in the history as one of the worst thought out lines possible. I get it. It's commentary saying, women are only thought of because they're reproductive in here and there. You do know women are the one who make babies, right? Like, the whole you're just a womb thing to them? That's stupid. It also forgets that Sarah Connor was more than just a womb, as How It Should Have Ended's video said. Like, Sarah Connor, sure, she gave birth to John Connor, but she also raised John Connor right to be a natural leader, and she helped the regiment itself here and there. So, what gives? What honestly gives with this movie? For a movie that is supposedly trying to be a sequel to the franchise, it seems like it loves to try and pretend like the previous movies didn't happen because it either blatantly steals scenes from them or retcons out certain things, or worse, just copies them. Well, I already said it steals from them, but it doesn't just steal from them, it copies them down pat. Again, trying to pretend like this never happened. Literally, the best thing in this movie is Carl, and his is a plot that should have been the actual theme of this movie. A Terminator who has to adapt in a world where he no longer has his mission. And it's an interesting one, actually. Like, I'll admit, I was legit surprised that they managed to handle Arnold right, despite everything else they mucked up. Like, he is a charismatic character. He's one who's learned emotions, but they don't try and pull the fanfic stuff of saying, now he's completely human. No. They still acknowledge that he's a robot. He can only feel the way a robot could. Again, where were these more interesting ideas throughout this movie? Not in the majority, that's for sure. And so, at the end of the road, what we have is a plane crash mixed with a train wreck, mixed with a shipwreck that just sinks to the bottom. I'd say it couldn't get worse, but, well, this movie is already a clear showing that there's always a bigger fish. That closes out my final thoughts. Pedro, do the honors.
Honestly, what else is there to say that hasn't already been said? The only thing I'll say is, once again, reiterating what I said before. Okay, James, you made it clear that you hate me. Well, guess what? The feeling is mutual. I will not be seeing any of your stupid Avatar sequels. Not that I had any intention of anyway, but now like, even if my friends try to drag me into it, I will stand my ground and refuse. No, you couldn't even pay me to go see that shit.
I gotta legit know, Pedro, how did they drag you to this movie of all things? Like, there's
Well,
one
Yeah,
thing.
you made it clear that you didn't want to watch it in the first place.
Well, here's the thing too. I wasn't interested in going to watch it, but here's the thing too. Unlike you, I didn't spoil myself, so I wasn't aware of what happened in the first 5 minutes. So I went, okay. My friends were, oh, come on, like, dude. Even if it's bad, we could at least laugh at some of it. And eventually, I was like, oh, okay, fine. Basically, it was
Did
just
you
like
know?
But trust me, Terry, if I knew in advance what the 5 minutes were, the first 5 minutes were, I wouldn't have gone. I assure you.
Wow.
But now I've definitely said no. James Cameron, you will never see me give another cent to you ever again because now you've after this it's not even just that you've communicated clear that you hate me. Well, guess what? The feeling is mutual. I hope Avatar 2 crashes and burns and flops financially, so you won't be able to make it. So Disney cancels the sequel, so that way you'll have to retire and never make a movie ever again.
I honestly gotta wonder, what Kool-Aid were the critics drinking when they gave this a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes? Like,
Yes. Hopefully your family will put you. Hopefully your family will ask you for you to retire, so you can, I don't know, go to a home and live with the other old men, because that probably function just as well as you do right now. So yeah, go away. You're not relevant anymore. You haven't been. Yes, I know that Alita was very well liked and was a big hit on home video, but whatever. That sequel can still be made without you anyway.
what happened?
So-
Seriously, what happened?
Whatever. Like, and even then, I still think Alita was just okay on its own merits, because now that I've actually familiarized myself with the manga, I can definitely see how much of a complete downgrade it was. Compared to the manga, it's fucking pathetic, to be honest, because the manga is way better. But whatever. The point is, all right, James, you hate me. Well, guess what? I hate you too. Fuck you. Bye.
Alright, the positive news is that the Terminator medias we'll have to see in the future are probably, hopefully, better than this.
Again,
if I
we
get
did
a-
get a good video game by the
If
same
I-
people who made the
like I
Rambo
said,
video
Like I
game.
said, if I get a copy, I'll definitely record Terminator Resistance, calling dibs and all. Actually, I'm curious, just quickly before we go, Pedro. Have you actually, since you all grew up with the Sega Genesis Mega Drive, have you played Robocop versus the Terminator?
Yes.
How is it?
The Mega Drive version was made by David Perry's team, and it's really good.
Maybe
Nice.
maybe we'll see that in the future as well. Who knows? Whatever. See you eventually, and hopefully, not for another Terminator movie. See ya.
So, yeah.
See ya.